Please be seated. Thank you very much, honorable members. Just an announcement that Honorable Sylvia Lucas, the Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, will be on sick leave until the 20th of December 2023, after undergoing a medical procedure. We wish the Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP well, so wish a speedy recovery. So, honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to remind delegates of the rules relating to virtual and hybrid meetings and sittings, in particular sub-rule 21, 22, 23 of Rule 103, which provides as follows: that the hybrid sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. That for the purpose of a quorum, all delegates who are logged on to the virtual platform shall be considered present. That delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak, and that delegates who experience connectivity issues are encouraged to use a still photograph for identification on the virtual platform, as has become a practice also over time. That delegates on the virtual platform are encouraged to log on with one device only, as logging with two or more devices further lowers the bandwidth. That delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted unless they are permitted to speak. That all delegates in the chamber must insert their cards to register on the chamber system. That delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphones. And that all delegates may participate in the discussions through the chat room. In addition, I would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, members of the executive, special delegates, and SALGA representatives on the virtual platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility in their gadgets are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. Permanent delegates, special delegates, SALGA representatives, and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation gadgets on their desks to access the interpretation facilities. Having gone through that process and motion, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy Minister of Police, who may be virtual, permanent delegates, MECs, and special delegates, and SALGA representatives to the House. We'll then move on to motions, honorable members, honorable delegates. We'll start with the notices of motions. The total time allocated for motions is about 20 minutes. And those who wish to give notice of motions should use the raise your hand function, as we normally do. And honorable members and delegates should note that if a delegate exceeds time of 1.5 minutes, your notice of motion will be printed in full on the next order paper. So I may have to stop you from proceeding. So any member wishing to table a notice of motion, please indicate. So we'll start on my left.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair, and mine will be short and sweet. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this council debates the negative economic impact crime has on our tourism industry and what steps the different spheres of government are taking or should take to protect the industry. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any other notice of motion? Mtamai. Then Lihihi.
Thank you, Chairperson. I raise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that council in the next sitting debate the Springbok emblem, which currently stands as a symbol of Afrikaner supremacy and represent continuously of apartheid racist white supremacy. I so move.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
In the back of our rule book, the word racist white is not permitted in this house. Can that member please withdraw that?
No one is going to withdraw anything here. You are racist.
Chair, if that man...
Point of order, Chair. Point of order.
Yeah, point of order, Chair. If he feels he's a racist white man, because here I'm talking about the white racist man, that is written. We know that even Israel is oppressing, and Israel is oppressing our people within that
point of order, Chair.
Palestine. So you must understand here, I'm talking about the racist supremacy, white apartheid. No, it's parliamentary. We know that we are from apartheid.
Point of order, Chair.
No, we know we are from apartheid. That is a history.
Just making a rule. Objection to what? No, but that's what's being considered now. Yes, I'm sure Muimang.
We are still. I thought the chair was inviting notices of motion.
Point of order, Chair.
Honorable Mutsama is raising. It's a motion without notice.
Can I be recognized, Chair?
Honorable members, is it possible to let the House note what has been the motion, the notice of motion raised by Honorable Mutsamai, and that the strong objection and whatever feeling on the issue is a matter that can be deferred to the next meeting, so that in keeping with the practice, we will then make the ruling known. But for now, we defer the issue. Okay.
Point of order, Chair.
Any other notice of motion? Yes. Dango. On what point are you rising, Honorable Dango?
No, I'm moving a motion on behalf of Honorable Maleka.
Recording in progress.
Chairperson, yes, we'll come to you.
Okay.
We'll come back to you. Honorable members, we'll try and and follow the list in front of me. So the first one was Honorable Lund, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we're done with that. And then we came to Honorable Mutsamai, Honorable Dango.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House, 1, commends the police for destroying drugs worth 800 million in Johannesburg on Thursday, the 26th of October, 2023. Sorry, I thought we'd moved away from that. But you see, we behave like a kindergarten, so that's a bit of a problem.
Honorable Dango, thank you very much. Honorable Khai.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to you and greetings to the honorable members. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move that the House in its next sitting debates the strengthening of endeavors that seeks to promote South Africa as one of the preferred investment destinations and an essential gateway for markets and other business opportunities throughout the continent. I so move. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Khai. Honorable Bartlett.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, can I just ask for being excused to raise issues without my video because I have connectivity challenges, please, Chair?
Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chair, I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates the call for support for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the opening of humanitarian corridors and essential services to allow much needed aid to reach those who are injured and in need. I so move, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable He.
Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that council in the next sitting debates food safety and escalation of poisonous food manufacturing in herbs that are not SAPS approved. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll then move on to Honorable Mtetwa.
No, thank you very much, Chair. May I not open up the video as well? I hereby move, Chair, on behalf of the African National Congress, that the House in its next sitting debates the deployment of 3,300 South African National Defence Force members to assist the police in combating illegal mining across the country to prevent and combat the crime and maintain and preserve the law and order in the Republic of South Africa under the Operation Prosper as a positive step in fighting to eradicate the lawlessness in our country, Chair. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable members, we'll now move on to motions without notice. We'll start with Honorable Lund on my left. Now, please, take a seat for a moment. And then there's Honorable Christian, Honorable Damini, there's Honorable Fesser, and Honorable Boshoff. And then we move to this row here. Mama Rehan, not Ra. Mama Rehan, yes. Sheikh, Raida, Mikalakis, Ndongeni, Dango, yeah, okay. Nana, okay.
The toy, Chair.
Sorry, just the tweet.
Yes, on the platform, Chair, please.
The tweet. Thank you very much. So we'll start with Honorable Lon.
Nkosi, Chair.
Nkosi, okay, edit. Honorable Lunt.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this council notes that crime is an ongoing crisis in South Africa affecting all communities. That throughout South Africa, there are individuals and organized groups that are standing up to take hands with law enforcement agencies to safeguard their areas against criminal elements. One such initiative where different spheres of government are taking hands together with the SAPS private sector and under the leadership of the Mossel Bay municipality is the Joint Operations Center that envisages a safer society to foster an enabling environment for business to flourish and help address the unemployment challenges. Notes that not being a metro, there are several fiscal constraints that require innovative ways to overcome hurdles for the optimal functioning of the command center and the associated activities. It is with this in mind that this House extends a special word of appreciation to partners such as the MEC Mackenzie for the help in establishing a K9 unit, as well as Mr. Sean Ekstrom for his generous contribution to help safeguard the greater Mossel Bay area. To the Mayor Dirk Coetzee and the MMC Van Dijk, together with their broader teams, a special word of thanks for going above and beyond to land your growth strategy and ensuring that Mossel Bay is an example and a place of hope. I so move.
Yes, thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? None. There being no motion, the motion there being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to. Agreed to. Thank you very much. Honorable Christian.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council acknowledges the critical medication shortages in the Northern Cape linked to outstanding debt and cash flow constraints within the Health Department, expresses concern over incidents at the Kimberley Mental Health Hospital, where the absence of essential drugs like clopazine led to assaults due to adverse reactions. Also notes the distressing cases of patients experiencing bone marrow suppression due to drug-resistant TB drug shortages. Draws attention to the extensive list of out-of-stock medicines, including basics like pain relief, antiretrovirals, antibiotics, and vital vitamins for pregnant women, putting their lives at risk. And lastly, calls upon the Minister of Health to obtain a comprehensive list of medicines shortages, complete pharmaceutical debt disclosure, and an effective plan to address and prevent these life-threatening medication shortages from the Provincial Department for immediate action. I so move. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? No. There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that Council notes that Piet Retief Hospital in Mkhondo local municipality has not been offering dental services since 2020, a period spanning over 3 years. Further note that when a question was posed to the Minister through the Parliamentary internal question responses. The response was that dental services have been halted due to the broken dental chair, which had not yet been repaired due to procurement. Acknowledge the importance of dental service care offered by public healthcare facilities because the presence of problems and oral diseases can damage the general health condition of patients. Further acknowledge that a vast majority of our people depend on dental services offered at public hospitals as they cannot afford private clinics. Recognize that it is completely unacceptable that a chair can take over 3 years to procure. This shows the level of incompetence from the ANC government and the lack of support of hospitals that is getting from this department. The Economic Freedom Fighters condemns this lack of seriousness that has a room full of dental equipment that have been not used because of a broken chair. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there an objection to the motion?
Objection, Chair.
There's an objection. And there being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Thank you very much, Honorable Professor.
Why do we have to harass us so much? Honorable Chair, thank you very much. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes with concern the illegal conduct of the Dr. Ruth Segomotsi Mompati District Municipality, spending 38 million on a chat box Mukuku coffee shop, call center facility on contract RDM 2020-030A without the consent of council, with W Cyber Solutions for a period of 36 months and part of a joint venture with Green Droplets project related to a high-ranking official at the municipality. Acknowledge that the unauthorized cost of equipment needed to run this chatbox Mukuku coffee shop is another monthly payment at an inflated cost of 1.4 million, of which some of the equipment listed on the invoices had not been delivered. Recognizes the exorbitant inflated cost of the equipment of a dysfunctional service with a district municipality supposedly to deliver fundamental bulk services they are known to fail. Wastewater plants in their jurisdiction are dysfunctional and bulk water supply in their jurisdiction fails to comply within the norms of constitutional human rights to communities, and further encourages the SIU to conduct a forensic audit of criminal intent as accountability needs to be demanded and disciplinary steps taken against the accounting officers. Dr. Ruth Segomotsi Mompati District Municipality Administration illegally and without council's consent squandered taxpayers' money by what seems like an alleged tender mafia operating within the administration, not complying with their constitutional obligations by delivering essential services to people with basic human needs. I so move. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion?
Objection, Chair.
There is an objection. Therefore, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Boshoff.
Thank you very much, Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes that 2 suspects were taken into custody following the murder of Megan Friesel, a nursery school teacher from Leidenburg, on Friday, 21 October. Further notes that these 2 suspects were apprehended through information provided to SAPS by the public. Again notes that one of the suspects was apprehended in Masoi, a township outside White River, and the second suspect was apprehended in Kanyamazan. Notes that both have appeared in the magistrates' courts of Leidenburg and Kabakweni respectively, and that their cases were again heard on Tuesday, 7 November 2023 in the Leidenburg Magistrates Court. Further notes that one of the 2 suspects was apprehended in Kanyamazan in possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition, and finally acknowledges
the swift work by the SAPs in Mpumalanga in apprehending these suspects and trusts that their continuous work will lead to the apprehension of the other 7 suspects who were involved in the senseless murder of Megan Grissel. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? None. The motion is therefore agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Next is Honorable Mama Khan.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I here move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the handing over of 35 new ambulances to the emergency medical services by the Premier of Limpopo, Mr. Chupu Stanley Mathabata, in the Sekhukhune district on the 7th November 2023. Knows that this is a significant contribution to enhancing the healthcare services in the province, delivering timely medical care to patients, ensuring immediate attention, providing vital first aid, stabilizing patients, and preventing the deterioration of their condition. Also note that this is in line with the good said by the MEC of Health, Dr. Popira Matuba, in the 2023-2024 budget vote speech to provide a total of 500 new ambulances. Further note that the additional district and emergency medical services stations are in the queue to receive new ambulances in the upcoming batch. Therefore, congratulate the government of Limpopo on the positive work done in improving the health of the people. I so move. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Is there an objection to the motion? There's an objection to the motion. The motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Shaik.
She's against me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House commends the police officers who foiled and intercepted a gang that was about to commit a cash-in-transit robbery in KwaZulu-Natal on Tuesday, the 7th of November, 2023. Notes that the police were following up on intelligence they had received for planned cash-in-transit when a shootout ensued between the police and members of a private security company against the armed gang. Also notes that a 40-year-old security officer was shot and killed when the suspects who were traveling in a hijacked Dodge sedan opened fire. A shootout ensued and the Dodge overturned. At the scene, 2 suspects were injured and arrested, and police recovered an AK-47 and an R5 with more than 240 rounds of high-caliber ammunition. Believes that collaboration between law enforcement agencies and the use of intelligence-driven operations will ensure that South Africa is a safe place to be during the festive season, and trusts that police visibility and high alert will assist a great deal in crime prevention and combating incidents of serious and violent crime, especially aggravated robberies. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaik. Any objection to the motion? None. The motion is therefore agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council notes with sadness the passing of Mr. Philip Notnagel of Vanderbijl Park. That this House notes that Mr. Notnagel served his community for many years in various capacities, including that of a councillor, and he played a key role in nation building, earning him the name of Mavusan amongst the people of the Vaal. Recognize that Mr. Notnagel played an extraordinary role and lived life in the service of his community, a hard worker, a peacemaker, a patriot, and that we extend our condolences to the community that he served, and especially to his family, who supported his activism and his community spiritedness. May his soul rest in peace. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? No objection. The motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mikalakis.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move without notice that this council notes that Machabeng Mayor Tandukolo Kalipa is accused of demanding kickbacks of 4 million rand each from service providers in the municipality, namely MC Security, Puseletsa Security and Projects, and Motse Warona Construction and Maintenance. That in court documents, the deponent on behalf of the municipality in turn makes allegations against some service providers about irregular appointments, inflated invoices, and work never done. Some service providers are also alleged to be donors of the ANC. That the mayor is further accused of receiving a house built for him to the value of 3.4 million rand by one such service provider, and that the service provider's daughter allegedly works in the office of the mayor. That if the mayor is really as innocent as he says, he should welcome any investigation into the matter. That services within the municipality have all but collapsed, with water and electricity problems being an everyday occurrence made worse by staff strikes and protests, and that this is ultimately the residents of Machabeng who are suffering due to corruption and poor administration. And finally, that this House condemns corruption and any kind of subsequent requests requests a proclamation from the President of the Republic for an investigation into these allegations by the Special Investigations Unit in the interest of all the people of Machabeng. I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion?
Objection. Objection. Objection.
Yes, there's an objection. And there being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Ndongeni.
I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the graduation of 312 Eastern Cape Community Development practitioners from across the province on Thursday, 26th October 2023 at East London ICC, Mamela Makwai. Notes that the graduation is part of the outcomes of the initiatives, which is aimed at improving the education, skills, experience, and employment opportunity of the youth. Also note that 70% of graduation practitioners were women who worked with communities to empower people and assist in addressing their socio-economic issues. Recalls that these practitioners have been in a field for many years and did not have the qualification that went with the work they were doing. Believes that the qualifications put them on the right path in the process of making meaningful contribution to the professionalization of the community development, and commend this beautiful initiative and hope it is emulated in other provinces. I so moved.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion?
Object.
We object, all of us.
Object. That is not the motion.
Objection.
What
The
are you
motion may
objecting,
not
but
therefore be
on
proceeded with
something like this?
and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Tango.
It's because they are buying qualifications, including the Premier of Eastern Cape. How do we celebrate
Thank
such
you very much, Chairperson, if I may. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House, one, commends the police for destroying drugs worth 800 million in Johannesburg on Thursday, the 26th of October, 2023. Two, notes that the destroyed drugs included cocaine, heroin, mandrax, and marijuana. Three, recalls that this is the third drug destruction process in this financial year, with most of the previous destructions having taken place in Cape Town in September. Also recalls that the drugs destroyed were linked to a number of high-profile cases, including the Maiden Wharf case, where more than 1 ton of cocaine with a street value of 400 million was seized. Understands that the drug exhibit materials are destroyed once the cases have been completed. Believes that the cooperation between the enforcement agencies across the world in clamping down on transnational organized crime is beginning to yield fruits. I so move, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? None. And there being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nana.
Chairperson, just before Honorable Nana, Mohai here, I believe that you did take note of another member who just spoke uninvited, of course, a howler, who said certain things regarding Eastern Cape motion. I think that should not be allowed to stand because it's incorrect to make such sweeping statements and left unattended. I just respected Honorable Dango, but thank you very much. I just wanted to make that point, that she makes specific mention of a name. I don't mind about these generalities, but specific mention of a name, which is not a fact regarding the premier of such a province. Thanks.
Order, Chair.
No, but they are stealing qualifications. They are buying qualifications for high. And that's a fact.
Point of order, Chair.
The point being raised, honorable members, is a valid one. And therefore it's sustained. And I'll urge you one more time. Please do not speak if you have not been pointed at by the presiding officer and allowed to speak.
And that includes Mohai as well.
That practice is a negative one and impacts negatively in the work that we're doing in the council. Honorable Nana.
Thanks, Chairperson. I am pleased. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm pleased that you have touched on the negativity part. I would want to, before I read my motion, I would want to suggest to you that you, presiding officers and whips of political parties, look into this growing practice in the council where we object for the sake of objecting, and that creates tit for tat afterwards. Motions are an important aspect of our work, Chairperson. This is the platform we use to put across experiences and things that are happening in our provinces. So I would really want to urge you to look into it.
No, the point is noted. It reinforces really what needs to happen and become a practice, established practice in the House. Please proceed with the motion.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion without notice that this council notes with deep sense of sadness that on the 1st of November 2023, Ntombizanele Situ passed away at the age of 52 years. Zanele, as she was affectionately known, was a well-known South African Paralympian athlete plying her trade mainly in category F54 throwing events, specializing in javelin throw. Having been born in Matatiele in the Eastern Cape, Zanele at a tender age of 12 experienced weakness in her legs, resulting in her inability to walk. Her resolve to succeed is a true testament that one's circumstances of birth should never be a determining factor in one's progress and success in life. Further notes that being confined to a wheelchair due to a spinal injury, this did not stop Zanele from being the first Black female South African athlete to win numerous accolades and medals. In the 1998 and 2002 World Champions in Birmingham and Lille, respectively, Zanele won gold medals for javelin in her category. In 2000 and 2004, Zanele represented her country in the Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia, and Athens, Greece, respectively. And again, she won our country gold medals in both instances. Calls on this House to salute this outstanding South African who has represented our country amongst the nations of the world with pride and distinction. Further calls on this House to send a letter of condolences to her family and loved ones. Her presence will undoubtedly be missed, and may her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? No. There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Detroit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I move without notice that the House notes the ongoing theft of Eskom overhead lines on a weekly basis on a line between Lichtenburg and Ventersdorp in the Northwest Province. Notes that the Freedom Front Plus has on numerous occasions requested the Minister of Police to intervene as a matter of urgency. Notes that on more than one occasion, motions were brought in this House without national police intervention on this matter. Notes that local SAPs have made some arrests in collaboration with the community, and they are applauded for this. And hereby again urges the Minister and the Deputy Minister of Police to intervene as a matter of urgency in the interest of food security, job security, and the rule of law. I so move, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? None. There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Ngozi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the South Africa's government's commitment to extend the COVID-19 social relief of distress grant until March 2025. Notes that according to the 2023 budget, the COVID-19 social relief of distress grant was only funded until March 2024. Recalls that the grant was introduced to mitigate the effects of the pandemic on low-income individuals affected by the lockdowns during the COVID-19 pandemic. Further welcomes the allocation of a sum of 34 billion rand by the Treasury to ensure that the grant is extended by another year. Believes that the grant is contributing tremendously to poor households as it brings food for their tables, and commends the government for the bold step to extend the grant whilst considering social security policy reforms and a funding model like a basic income grant to replace this one. I so move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Any objection to the motion? No. There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable Mtetwa. Gone. Thank you very much. Honorable members will now proceed to the first order. The order being consideration of a report of Select Committee on Security and Justice, announcement tablings and committee reports, 1st November 2023, page 61. Amendments to the practical guidelines for employees submitted in terms of Section 10(4)(b) of the Protected Disclosures Act of 2000 Act number 26 of 2000, dated the 1st of November 2023. I now call on Honorable S. Shaik, Chairperson of Select Committee on Security and Justice, to present the committee report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to all honorable members. Honorable Chairperson, the purpose of the Protected Disclosure Act 26 of 2000, as amended by Act 5 of 2017, is to protect an employee or worker, whether in the private or the public sector, from being subjected to an occupational detriment on account of having made a protected disclosure. To provide for certain remedies in connection with any occupational detriment suffered on account of having made a protected disclosure, and provide for procedures in terms of which an employee or a worker can, in a responsible manner, disclose information regarding improprieties by his or her employer. Honorable Chair, Section 10, subsection 4A of the Protected Disclosures Act provides that the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development must, after consultation with the Minister of Public Service and Administration, issue practical guidelines to employees. The purpose of these practical guidelines is to explain the provisions of the Act and to highlight the procedures available to employees or workers who wish to disclose information. On the 31st of August 2011, the practical guidelines for employees were published. Honorable Chair, the Protected Disclosure Act was amended on the 2nd of August 2017. Before its amendment, Section 8, subclause 1 of the Act provided that any disclosure made in good faith to the public protector, the Auditor General, or any person or body prescribed for the purposes of that section, and in respect of which disclosure the employee or worker concerned reasonably believes that the relevant impropriety falls within any description of matters which, in the ordinary course, are dealt with by the person or body concerned, and the information disclosed, and any allegation contained in it are subsequently true as a protected disclosure. In August 2017, Section 8, subclause 1 was amended to specifically include as other institutions to which protected disclosures could be made. That is the South African Human Rights Commission, the Commission for Gender Equality, the Commission for Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities, and the Public Service Commission. This amendment to Section 8, subclause 1 of the Act necessitated amendments to be effected to the guidelines. Hence, paragraph 3 of Part 1, under the heading Specified Persons or Bodies, specifies the institutions to which protected disclosures could be made in addition to the Public Protector and the Auditor General, as I've outlined them in terms of the amendment to the legislation. Furthermore, Part 3 is amended to set out the contact details of the Public Protector in all 9 provinces, and not in only 4 as the guidelines currently provide, as well as the contact details of other persons of bodies contemplated in Section 8, subsection 1C, to whom protected disclosures can be made, and deleting Part 4, the Act from the guidelines, and this proposed deletion, Honorable Chair, would also obviate the need to amend the guidelines from time to time by substituting the Act whenever it is amended. Section 10, subsection 4B of the Protected Disclosure Act states that the guidelines must be approved by Parliament before publication in the Gazette. The committee in its deliberation was in agreement with the amendments, and that this will go a long way to advance the fight against corruption and ensure the protection of whistleblowers in South Africa. Honorable Chair, the committee, having considered the amendments to the practical guidelines for employees submitted in terms of Section 10, subsection 4B of the Protected Disclosures Act number 26 of 200, and referred to the committee on the 20th of September 2023, recommends that the National Council of Provinces approve the said guidelines as tabled. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaik. We will now proceed to parties making their declaration of votes in terms of Rules 86, if they so wish. Just a reminder, 3 minutes per declaration. Provinces making that declaration, sorry, not parties. Maximum per declaration, 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to make a declaration on behalf of a province? No, none. We shall now proceed to voting on the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes, and when called upon to do so, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We'll start with the Eastern Cape, and then follow the alphabetical order.
Eastern Cape, Chair.
Eastern Cape in favor. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Chairperson.
Free State votes in favor. Thank you very much. Gauteng. Tango has just moved out. Let's move on to KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal yaseka sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal yaseka supporta Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Limpopo vote in favor. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Mpumalanga votes in favor. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Northern Cape vote in favor. Northwest. Northwest agrees. Western Cape.
Western Cape agrees.
Western Cape agrees.
Gauteng agrees.
Gauteng agrees. Thank you very much.
Sorry, House Chair. When a vote takes place, are people allowed to enter the chamber and then cast their vote as was just done by Honorable Dango? Because if it's not allowed, then you'll have to disregard that vote. It won't make a difference on the outcome, but we need to ensure that we enforce the rules fairly across the board and not selectively. And once that vote started taking place, the member was not allowed to enter the chamber and then cast his ballot.
I guess that this is one of the issues that we'll have to come back to. And the reason really, as a matter of practice, we have tended as a matter of practice to accommodate similar kinds of practices. It doesn't happen often, but as and when it has happened, we've allowed it. But because it's such a serious matter, we'll look at it and come back and make the ruling available to all members and to council. Voting being closed and counting being 9. 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. We will proceed. We'll now proceed to the subject of a debate as printed on the order paper. Debate on measures to combat protection fee syndicates and business extortion, waging a concerted battle against protection fee syndicates and extortion of communities and businesses. I now call upon the Honorable C. Matale, Deputy Minister of Police, to open the debate. Honorable Matale.
Thank you, Chairperson of the NCOP. Honorable members, good afternoon. The country is experiencing sporadic incidents of violence and extortion targeting formal and informal businesses alike. This form of economic extortion is criminal and often multifaceted. The crimes often include a percentage demand from small, medium, and micro enterprises, as well as big projects. Extortionists also seem to know no bounds. They even target the ordinary man on the street trying to make ends meet through their respective small-scale business ventures. Informal businesses like roadside vendors, barber shops and saloons, liquor traders, spaza shops, and even the unemployed who are leasing their back rooms to make ends meet have not been spared from this form of crime. The modus operandi of these ruthless gangs often involves the use of violence and intimidation to extort exorbitant fees for so-called protection from business owners. This crime also transcends into the targeting of more formal establishments and medium enterprise such as construction projects of schools, roads, business centers, and other major projects, especially in our townships. The biggest challenge with extortion is the secrecy around it. Victims fear to report it for fear of further victimization, so they quietly pay the demanded protection fee. They do not realize that such payment will also perpetuate the extortion against themselves, but also to others around them. Therefore, our plea to the communities that they should not pay, but should immediately report any demand for such payment. The other challenge is that many of our community members see it as a crime affecting others in code. For example, contractors, foreign-owned businesses, nightclubs, etc. Therefore, very few of our community members are willing to come forward with information in this regard. Sadly, extortion also takes various forms. Recently, some of my office staff and the parliamentary constituency office in Secunda were threatened with baseball bats and heavy-duty hammers. The culprits demanded that they disembark the car they were in and use taxis to get to their destination. Such is apparently a regular occurrence in the area. People in private vehicles are not allowed to be more than two. It is held that the rest use taxis and other commercial transportation services. Honorable members, this administration remains resolute in its stance to urgently and vigorously tackle crimes that threaten the lives and the livelihoods of South Africans and all those who live within our borders. This includes threats to the authority of the state, territorial integrity and the economy and the well-being of the South African population. This government is and continues to place emphasis on the stabilization of identified crimes in high crime areas. We are also placing special focus on violent contact crimes and economic crimes, including business extortion syndicates. As early as 2021, Minister Begikele established an extortion priority committee comprising of various role players to deal with the phenomenon of extortion in the Western Cape, and it bore some positive fruit. The same approach has had to be followed nationally within applicable regulatory prescripts. As you may be aware, we have developed and are implementing the National Policing Strategy, which amongst others is intended to respond to such crimes. We have also ensured that additional crime prevention and combating resources are allocated thereto. We have, as a government and as the South African Police Service, been unequivocal in our call to criminals that this country will not and will never be a haven for criminals or organized crime syndicates. We refuse to be held at ransom by unscrupulous criminals and criminal syndicates. Therefore, police, through their aggressive approach to crime, have fired a warning shot to all elements of criminality and those who support crime, as evidence from Operation Shanyela that we operationalized in May this year, which has delivered desirable results and have seen crime stats indicating a notable drop in many areas of crime throughout the country. Over and above the intensified approach to crime through Operation Shanyela and the capacitation of our Crime Intelligence Division, this administration has taken a cue from the presidential call for the formation of specialized team to rid our communities and our streets and construction sites of criminals who choose to use violence for their criminal gains. This is why the development of policing capacity to investigate extortion-related crimes and the swift apprehension and prosecution of suspects remains crucial in our fight against extortion. Chairperson, yes, the long arm of the law will not be selective, nor will it be kind to extortionists and all other role players in the whole criminal value chain. SAPS continues to improve its responses, especially the investigative capacity of the service into extortion-related crimes. The investigative capacity I speak of consists of organized crime investigators from detectives and forensic services of SAPS. They are tasked solely with the investigating of the scourge of extortion in all our provinces. The Economic Infrastructure Task Team that have been operational since June 2022 have been instrumental in dismantling this form of criminal syndicate throughout the country. The task teams are vigorously tracing and arresting extortionists. Plainly put, we have put focus on both human and financial resources to ensure that the South African Police Service tackles this crime without fear or favor. Honorable members, at the risk of sounding tautological, I am of the strong belief that crime prevention and combating is not the responsibility of SAPS alone. We need all hands on deck. Hence, following the crime analysis of the so-called protection phase syndicate, it has become clear that if we are to see the end of this kind of organized criminality, we need the buy-in of communities and other stakeholders. We also need the assistance of other departments and affected parties. To date, SAPS has joined forces with the National Prosecution Authority as well as stakeholders in the business sector and private sector, because we need to work together with the private sector and the business sector and the Justice Department through the National Prosecution Authority to fight these gangs. These collaborations have resulted in greater coordination and synergy between parties, and definitive inroads continues to be made in this regard. The crime analysis on this form of organized crime shows that extortionists are targeting businesses mainly based in the Eastern Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and the Western Cape provinces. Since August 2019 until September this year, a total of 766 cases of business extortion were reported to the police. From April 2023 to September this year, 92 cases were investigated by the police, leading to the arrest of 43 suspects. The majority of the arrests came from Gauteng and the Western Cape. A further 8 suspects were arrested for their respective roles in extortion-related crimes in the Limpopo province, while 1 suspect was arrested for a similar offense in the Eastern Cape during the reporting period. The Western Cape province saw the highest number of arrests in extortion-related cases with 32 total arrests. Gauteng has had 21 people arrested for their respective roles in extortion-related crimes. The intimidation of witnesses and whistleblowers remains a stumbling block in police investigations. This often results in witnesses not willing to testify as they fear for their lives. Police have since identified various other related threats of extortions that negatively impact on the economy of the country and the livelihoods of South Africans. This is why it has become even more crucial to arrest all role players in the whole value chain of this well-organized criminal network. The value chain is the runners, the planners, and the benefactors of these crimes. Honorable members, we remain encouraged that a majority of our people are law-abiding citizens, and we know it is a handful of gangs and individuals who commit this form of crime. As a preventive measure, through pamphlet distribution and community engagement, police continue to conduct crime prevention programs to educate communities about the seriousness and negative impact that extortion has on communities. The crime prevention and information campaigns are aimed at empowering communities and owners of small and micro businesses against extortionists. While we are confident that the police are up to the task on stamping the authority of the state in this regard, we again call on all communities to also play their role in the fight against organized crime, especially extortion, which has no room in our society. The position of the South African Police Service and the security cluster in particular is no crime or criminal activity will be tolerated, and will continue to track down and ensure the arrest, prosecution, and punishment of perpetrators. Whether it is organized gangs, criminal syndicates, or individuals spying on small-scale business people, we are closing in on them. The long arm of the law will not be selective, nor will it be kind. We refuse to co-govern with criminals and will not allow criminality to plunge our beloved country into a mafia state. We remain committed to creating a safer South Africa for our citizens and ensuring a conducive environment for our people to prosper. Hence, we continue to relentlessly pursue every avenue that will ensure that all businesses, be it hair salons, street vendors, backroom landlords, or construction service providers, can operate freely without fear of any form of intimidation or violence. We appreciate this platform, Chairperson, that has been created so that we debate this matter, and we call upon members of the NCOP and our responsive provinces and local municipalities to join hands with the South African Police Service and the Justice Cluster to fight this scourge and to fight criminality, because we believe working together as the three spheres of government, victory is certain. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. That takes us to the second speaker, Honorable Tim Proteseth.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Minister, sorry, Deputy Minister, I don't know if there are any other ministers here, no. Honourable members and my fellow South Africans, good day. Extortion is defined as the practice of obtaining something, usually money, through force or threats. Under South African law, the crime of extortion is classified as common law crime. The accepted legal definition for the crime of extortion is taking from another some patrimonial or non-patrimonial advantage by intentionally or unlawfully subjecting that person to pressure, which induces him or her to submit to the taking. Simply put, it means threatening a person with a harmful act unless they submit to demands being made. Extortion takes these most common forms in South Africa. Protection is a form of extortion. For example, protection from gangs or even corrupt police officers, threatening arrests until a person pays up, or simply threatening physical harm against a person in exchange for money, goods, or services. Now, Chairperson, it is said that one's perspective on any particular problem is directly proportionate to your distance from the problem. I repeat that. One's view on a problem is directly proportionate to your distance from the problem. Now, in the build-up to this debate, and for the past couple of years, everybody's been talking about construction mafia. So it's not a problem. That's something far away. Nightclubs, bouncers, something far away. Well, I want to tell you, and I must differ with the DM, this is not a handful of cases. This is in our faces now, as South Africans, in our faces. Industries, big and small, from mining to construction to township spaza shops, are being targeted by extortion rackets of epidemic proportions. I mean it, epidemic. as organized crime is fast emerging as the biggest threat to the South African economy. This form of crime is now more damaging than bad policy or service delivery failure. This activity undermines any efforts at the moment to build a country with a growing economy based on good policy and effective state. So the question is what is the psychology of extortion? I believe it has its roots in a thing called the emulative effect. When children see their parents, teachers, or peers behave in a certain way, they emulate their behavior, and then it becomes permissible. In short, South Africans have internalized, justified, culturally assimilated, and by extension, rendered extortion permissible. From the evidence we have seen before the Zondo Commission, there is macro extortionism that has taken place and continues to take place in the highest offices of the land. At a micro level, in the day-to-day lives of ordinary people, little extortions have become a type of norm. Communities across cities, towns, and villages in South Africa have simply accepted forms of extortion as a part of doing business. Extortion has become culturally assimilated. The way it works is that an individual or a criminal syndicate will show up at your place of work or business or home, however small or large it may be, tell you that they are your protection and that you have to pay for their service. This stops as simply as the car guard who walks up to your car in the car park and says, I'm going to look after your car. They haven't asked you your permission. You go away, you come back, and generally out of guilt, you give them something small. There was no contract to do that, but there's a hope that if you pay them this 2 Rand, 5 Rand, 10 Rand, nothing will happen to your car. That is a form of extortion. Evidence of extortion is everywhere. It runs from the top, from the former president, I'm sorry to say, to the guy expects payment for guarding your property without asking you for protection. Out of this, there is a sense of hopelessness, of helplessness, and a sense of guilt. At a macro level, the country's dirtiest politicians, deployees of the ANC, people such as Sladi Motsoeneng, Brian Molefe, and Lucky Montana, and any public servant who demands a kickback. And at a micro level, as I said, the car guard. Extortion has become permissible, pervasive, and has poisoned the waters of South African society. It is critical to understand in this debate that no one can protect businesses other than the state. However, the state's capacity to do so has been vastly denuded. The hawks have been completely stripped of their capability, and skilled leaders have been replaced with sycophants of the state capture machine. To make matters worse, the hawks have almost 3,000 vacancies in their ranks. Recruiting top quality investigators who can turn the tide against organized crime is difficult, but this is an area where business can contribute skills and support renewal. To this end, during an oral parliamentary session in this House, the DA managed to get certain concessions out of the President. On the 12th of October, I engaged the President and he agreed that South Africa would now get a functioning presidential hotline where business capture can be reported and receive the required SAPS intervention in order to smash mafia cartels once and for all. He also agreed to establish a witness protection program that would ensure the physical, mental, and financial well-being of those reporting these crimes. And he also undertook to establish a specialized prosecution unit with only the crimes pertaining to mafia-style business capture. To his credit, he agreed to these things. However, I've got to say that that activity only started to flourish when I put the questions into the President for oral reply. So we welcome his undertakings, but we get concerned when the DM this afternoon says this is just a handful of cases. Minister Sikalala says, well, it's 200 arrests. The President said it's 70 arrests, and Minister Klele doesn't seem to have an idea, but it's certainly way more than 200. And I encourage them to go and sit down and have a cup of coffee and work it out. But it's concerning when you see that level of confusion amongst those spheres. It is also concerning when we found out from the Auditor General South Africa yesterday that in order to facilitate work in the Eastern Cape, to get the rail working again in the Eastern Cape, PRASA and the ANC government there have met with the construction mafia and have made concessions and made payments in order to get that work going again. Then we have the case of, closer to your home, the ordeal of Chief Matsila, who had a 21-hour ordeal at the hands of people who kidnapped him. What is Chief Matsila doing in the ANC? He's trying to clean it up, but he got held hostage for 21 hours. What does that tell you about the own organization, the ANC? So, colleagues, I have great skepticism that the ANC can fix this problem. However, I have great hope that we hope does exist. It exists where the DA runs the show. My colleague, hang on a second, Honorable Chana. My colleague, the Honorable Badenhorst, will stand up shortly in this debate, and he will set out the measures, the physical measures, not the spin, not what we're going to do, not the blue sky, but the physical measures of what the city of Cape Town and the Western Cape has been doing to combat this level of crime in South Africa. These measures provide a clear path of action coupled with an unwavering commitment to the rule of law. With the elections in 2024 fast approaching, South Africa will no doubt note that the DA is present in this crisis, facing down this crisis, and as I always say, we will not back down, we are going nowhere. Siyabongela.
Thank you very much. We'll go on to Honorable Shai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable members, we are engaging in this debate at the time when the world is observing a continuous aggression and escalation of conflict visited upon the people of Gaza by the State of Israel. We of the ANC maintain our consistent solidarity with the people of Palestine and urge the State of Israel to stop the aggression. It must be known that Palestine has never known peace since the occupation of its land by Israel. Therefore, the current conflict in the Middle East should not be seen in isolation to the protracted conflict between Israel and Palestine. We call on the occupying State of Israel to cease fire and to allow humanitarian aid to enter Palestine. We call on both sides to stop the escalation and create an environment for peaceful resolution of the conflict. Our firm position is on the implementation of the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We reiterate the words of our first democratically elected president, President Nelson Mandela, when he said, "We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." Honorable Chair and honorable members, we are participating in a debate on the measures to combat protection-free syndicates and business extortion, waging a concerted battle against protection-free syndicates and the extortion of communities and businesses. While the challenge of extortion networks is a global phenomenon, there's a rise of such networks in the African continent and in our own country. Honorable Chair, there's the need for collaboration of the three spheres of government in dealing with protection fee and business extortion syndicates. In this regard, our call is that the national, provincial, and local governments should collaborate and work together to address the crime of protection fees, extortion, and other related illicit crimes. In this debate, we would like to highlight a crime syndicate commonly known as the construction mafias. We have made commitments in our 2019 election manifesto that, amongst other things, the ANC government will prioritize and implement the fight against corruption throughout society. We undertook to safeguard the integrity of the state and ethical leadership and to building safer communities. In addition, we undertook that we will continue with the transformation of the economy to serve all people through interventions that promote a developmental growth path that creates jobs. We understood then, as we do now, that economic development can only thrive in an environment of peace and the respect for the rule of law. There cannot be development in an environment where the laws are disregarded and the people do as they wish, an environment where illicit criminal activities are the order of the day. Our manifesto reviews shows that a lot has been done by the ANC government to fight crime and corruption, and yet more still needs to be done in this regard. Our manifesto review report shows that government continues to invest in the upgrading and building of police stations, as well as the purchasing and maintenance of vehicles. It shows that there is also a move towards greater use of technology for crime prevention, including surveillance cameras in public spaces and drones. As part of intervention measures to strengthen the capacity of the law enforcement agencies, during the 2022-23, a total of 10,358 new South African Police Service members were enlisted. It further shows that 99.82% of police stations have functional community policing forums from the total of 1,159 police stations as at the end of the 28th of February 2023. We can also indicate that the Hawks, the DPCI, have also registered 5 investigating projects to deal with illegal mining, which has led to a significant number of arrests and seizure of stolen materials. Lastly, that the Border Management Agency has been operationalized in law in terms of the Border Management Authority Act. The BMA will go a long way to deal with border management and control and address illegal migration and cross-border crimes. We are highlighting these important interventions by government to illustrate that the ANC government is making sure that the commitments made in our 2019 manifesto are implemented. In the face of the sterling work that government continues to undertake in the fight against crime and corruption, the heightened levels of extortion and protection fee demand on construction companies by the so-called construction mafias is a serious concern to all of us. To understand who are these construction mafias and their modus operandi, we borrow from an article written by Armstrong and Meyer titled Illicit Business Forum in South Africa, a Survey. This article is written in the Journal of Anti-Corruption. Armstrong and Meyer say the following about the construction mafias. These are people or groups who, under the pretext of providing employment and inclusion of communities in which the development or enterprise is taking place, they demand money, 30% of the contract or developmental value, subcontracting, or a share of the project under the threat of violence and unrest. Armstrong further indicates that they call themselves business forums, whereas law enforcement agencies call them illicit business forums. These illicit business forums target multiple construction sites and developments, including state-funded construction sites, privately owned and funded developments and business. Armstrong and Meyer conclude by saying that the construction mafias cause delays in critical infrastructure developments. To illustrate the impact of the construction mafias on the construction industry, we quote the CEO of the Construction Industry Development Board, Mr. Gladler, when he said, the mafias significantly impact and delay the execution of projects, and also projects become more expensive to execute. He further says that in some instances, there has been loss of life when sites are disrupted, but there is work being done on the preventative aspects, but also on the punitive aspects. On the criminal aspect, we are working with the law enforcement agencies to deal with that particular issue. Honorable Chair, these observations point to the reality that the construction mafias are an impediment to the infrastructure development of our country. These mafias are depriving the communities an opportunity to benefit from state service delivery on infrastructure. The strong message we would like to send to the construction mafias is that we cannot surrender our country to criminals. Whilst we commend the collaboration between business and the South African Police Services in dealing with these construction mafias, we would also want to make a call to our communities that they should not be part of these thugs, and they must report these mafias to the law enforcement agencies, and that thus not be complacent nor complicit. We understand the argument that some leaders are misinterpreting the Treasury regulations on 30% local procurement. This misunderstanding is interpreted as an entitlement of a certain portion of the tender value to the local companies. The point we are making is that procurement should be undertaken within the parameters of law and regulations. We urge all leaders to interpret the procurement legislations with diligence and within the parameters of law and regulations. Honorable Chair, we reiterate the words of the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Zikalala, when he said, "It is important that we all speak with one voice in condemning site disruptions and extortion affecting this sector." The Minister further said that it is even more important that we act together to root out these illegal practices which are bringing disrepute and dragging away investment in the South African construction and property sector. Honorable Chair, we welcome the deployment of the South African National Defence Force by the President to assist the police in the fight against crime and organized crime in our country. We also urge our communities to work with the police and the law enforcement agencies in the fight against crime, including crime committed by the construction mafias. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll then proceed to the fourth speaker, Honorable Hatebe.
Honorable Chairperson, in 2019 alone, it was reported that approximately 183 infrastructure and construction projects throughout the country, which were worth more than 63 billion, came to a standstill. This was not due to the usual feats of corruption, mismanagement of public funds, and incompetence, but simply as a result of violence and disruptions by armed individuals and organized groups who often demand a 30 to 40% share in these projects. These actions not only pose a danger to the lives of these constructors and ordinary community members, but have also led to a series of major players filing for business rescue and reporting depressing financials, leading to the loss of billions of rands. Despite all this, these illegal and immoral protection fee syndicates continue to sprout. Honorable Chairperson, it is with concern that I point out that this occurrence that started and gained traction in KwaZulu-Natal in the mid-2010s has today found its close in all territories of the country, affecting both private and public sectors. In fact, whilst the private sector was hit first, the state has not been spared either. For example, some 60 plus SANRAL projects have been affected in one manner or another. It is therefore worrying that this is a matter that has not yet been addressed, with seemingly no attempts made to do some either when it has the potential to bring the economy to its knees. Efforts to combat this should go beyond simply verbally condemning such criminality, but they should be rooted in practicality, willingness, and most importantly, driven by actionable solutions. Honorable members, we should never mistake this staunch criminality for genuine efforts by communities who wish to be part of economic development projects. As a result, I implore government to enforce all possible measures that our resources permit in order to curb and completely combat this practice, no holds barred. Evidently, there has been no sense of urgency from government to address the matter that continues to ravage what is left of this nation. Therefore, as a party, we call for the formation, training, and deployment of a specialized unit within SAPS to address this matter, a unit that has the balance of both SAPS and SANDF skills and resources. This is a crucial unit that will be able to locate the source of the funding and weapons of these organized groups, thus put a stop to this calamity. I encourage all of us in this House to remember that this is how criminality cements its roots, through complacency and a lack of heavy penalties. Honorable members, it is our moral and constitutional duty to ensure that we serve the people of this country, and we can only achieve this through collective efforts that bring about tangible results. I thank you.
Thank you very much. To follow is Honorable Masibuko.
Chair, I rise on a point of order.
Yes, what is that point of order?
Chairperson, the EFF is the third largest party in the council. But today we are witnessing something that minority parties are speaking before the EFF. What type of formula was used for the IFP to speak to the before the incoming governing party? What type of formula was used?
Win some more votes.
Because we were not told, we won votes here. Whoever is speaking, the EFF is the third largest party in the council. So what informed the speaker of the IFP to speak before the EFF? Because this matter was never raised on any platform.
Honorable Makause, the point we are raising is not a point of order.
Is a what?
It's rather some contestation of how the people allocated speaking time and so on the list, etc. Yeah, we'll come back to this issue at some point in the near future, just to clarify it once and for all. So
the only clarity is that we are the third largest party in the council. There's not any other clarity. Why do you let minorities speak before us?
I will now proceed to Honorable Mazibugo, but as I do so, ask Honorable Muimang to take over the chairing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the session, Honorable Babu Amos Masondo, for the opportunity to share with members of the NCOP and the country at large the work that we're doing here in Gauteng. Let me acknowledge all the honorable members of the House, and let me also acknowledge the Deputy Minister, and let me acknowledge all the ladies and gentlemen that are in attendance. The protection fee syndicates and the extortion on communities and business is a growing phenomenon that is not only prevalent in Gauteng, but affects South Africa as a whole. Left unchallenged, this phenomena will cause great damage not only to the construction industry and the business community, but the economy in its entirety. The practice involves a long-standing history of organized criminal gangs and syndicates that extort money from construction companies, business owners, and under the pretext of protection fee. The issue stems from the announcement made in 2017 of the new regulations to the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act, stating that 30% of all contracts value on state construction contracts be allocated to designated groups, including Black South African women and people with disabilities. The construction mafia misunderstood this pronouncement, exploited these laws, and continues to cause disruption even on private sector construction sites. The gangs demand protection against violent disturbances and extortions in the form of that 30% interest on the project or 30% of the overall contract value in cash. These protection fee syndicates often exercise violence to demand or steal money and valuables from people and businesses in exchange for protection fee and damage to property. They target construction companies and government departments' events where they illegally invade these sites or venues, heavily armed, and threaten individuals or their families. These criminal acts have devastating financial consequences for the businesses, including Black-owned SMMEs, and projects often experience delays for months, causing costs to spiral. In many cases, progress on projects is delayed until their demands are addressed. This can also result in violent and, in the worst scenarios, murder for the victims. This phenomenon is also rife in the business community. Although Gauteng is a vibrant social environment, entrepreneurs often worry about their safety and the safety of their businesses in the township. And the entrepreneurs who own barber shops, shebis, and spaza shops are often targeted by these criminal activities who demand money. Here in Gauteng, they even have names. Others are named Boko Haram, others are named Hamas. In Mamelodi, Honorable Chair, people no longer even sell amakunya on the road
because these mafias demand even that mere change that people are trying to make a living. And as a result, this poses a challenge to the economic growth of the province and especially township economy. And it is a bigger threat even on the well-being of the people. The rising levels of unemployment also are contributing, and business liquidations also are becoming a challenge. As the Gauteng provincial government, we denounce these acts of criminality, which have a detrimental effect on the livelihoods of the businesses and residences. Extortion and demands of protection fees by criminal syndicates are unlawful and will not be tolerated. The Gauteng Premier Tate Panyaza Lesufi has called upon all hands on deck to implement the 5 elevated priorities, namely economic recovery and construction, strengthening the battle against crime, corruption, vandalism, and overcoming lawlessness, changing the conditions in township, informal settlement, and hostels, prioritizing of health and wellness of our people, and strengthening the capacity of the state. Ours is to strengthen the battle against crime and ensure all residences are and also feel safe in their respective communities. The well-being of Gauteng residents is our top priority, and as a province, we are deeply committed to addressing the issue of crime, particularly these protection fee syndicates and extortion of our communities and businesses. Efforts to address these issues often involve multifaceted approach. The Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mawela, has also set up teams in all districts to deal decisively with these criminals. And as the provincial government also, we shall strive to ensure that there is visible policing. And to date, we have recruited 6,000 men and women as crime prevention wardens to amplify the work of the law enforcement agencies in our townships, informal settlements, and in hostels. Their responsibilities include working closely with the police to fight crime and conduct intelligence gathering by working closely with communities. And also as the Gauteng provincial government, we're also investing in a state-of-the-art technology, such as the CCTV cameras, drones in all our corridors, and we have also a list helicopters that are also assisting the law enforcement when they're doing their work, because they are the ones that are able to drive early and be able to protect this construction site. We believe this investment in the technology will also help track all the movement of the suspect and be able to assist in giving evidence when they are in court. Furthermore, Honorable Chairperson, we will be rolling out the e-panic buttons to our communities so that then when they see or see something that is happening, they're able to make sure that they press that panic button and law enforcement agencies will actually respond very quickly. The Operation Chanela also, which includes stops and searches, also vehicle checkpoints and roadblocks and coordinate searches, also is assistance to this. Worst of all, Honorable Chairperson, we believe if we improve our coordination and communication, we can be able to fight these atrocities that are being committed against our people. In conclusion, let's welcome the debate, Honorable Chair, and we believe out of our discussions today, we'll make sure that we continuously engage our communities and continuously engage the business community and ensure that we grow the economy of the country without criminal activities also taking their money away from them. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC Mazibuko, MEC for Safety and Security from Gauteng. We proceed, honorable members.
Point of order.
We shall now invite Honorable.
Point of order.
Yes, Honorable Ngause.
Earlier on, I rose on a point of order. Now that you have taken a chair as a chair, Tate Mwima, can you answer the EFF? Why are minority parties speaking before the third largest party in the council? Why?
Honorable Mkause, the chairperson has ruled on the matter. So the matter is closed.
What was the ruling? What was the ruling?
The honorable chairperson said the matter that you raise, he will come back to it. That is a ruling that the chair has made. Thank you, Honorable Mkause. We shall now invite Honorable Kata, the MEC for Community Safety, from Eastern Cape. Over to you, MEC. Kata.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of the NCOP, Honorable members of the NCOP, Honorable members of the provincial legislatures, Honorable Deputy Minister, the representatives of SALGA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I rise to present the agony of many silent voices who continue to suffer the psychological damage and financial loss due to the imposed protection fees and extortion of money that is continuously perpetuated by criminal syndicates. There are many unreported cases of these criminal acts that are motivated by self-serving interest, quick money-making, targeting, and terrorizing hard-working families within our communities. Crime Intelligence Unit and its endeavors to combat the sophistication of such heinous crime have continued to introduce systems that bring about new advanced technologies to counter strategies of these hardened criminals that continue to terrorize the vulnerable members of society in this province and beyond. The statistical evidence has shown an increasing number of similar incidents of types of crime, and some of the victims have had to suffer the gruesome torture and pain that ultimately results in deaths. A possibility exists that if this continues, onslaught continues, is not without being attended to with speed, it may invariably attract new members within various sectors, including business community, to join the established gangs for purposes of settling scores through reprisals. We have witnessed many adjudicated cases in our courts that emanate from the binding processes within the tendering system. These are some of the crimes that have been categorized as priority by the crime units within the justice cluster in this country, and all the efforts that have been put in place to support the men and women in blue and the crime investigating units to be supported as well by the political leadership in all material times until these syndicates are defeated. There is a commitment of the head of department that everything in the province is going to be done to provide support, administrative support, and material support to ensure that we fight these criminal acts. Section 17 of the SAPS Amendment Act established the Directorate of Priority Crimes Investigation, which among others functions has the responsibility to prevent and combat and investigate national priority offenses, which in the opinion of the head of the Directorate need to be addressed by the Directorate subject to any policy guidelines issued by the Ministerial Committee. The crimes relating to extortion, kidnapping, and protection fees are therefore investigated by DPCI. In an effort to address these crimes in the province, a task team led by the DCPI has been established, and it is comprised of experienced generals and hostage negotiators and crime intelligence personnel. Despite the limited resources in the province, this task team has been established to meticulously respond to all reported cases relating to protection fees and extortion. As the issue of protection fees and extortion is common among foreign nationals, the provincial head of DPCI has further established a forum with foreign nationals. The main objective of the forum is to participate in endeavors aimed at addressing root causes of kidnapping and extortion and share information with the relevant community. The use of technology is one of the methods that will assist in effectively dealing with these crimes. While releasing the Q1 crime statistics, the Minister of Police highlighted the dedication and intention to incorporate numerous technologies in the fight against crime. The following are currently implemented in the province in an effort to respond to these crimes. That is, intelligence-driven disruptive operations are taking place and which are yielding results. Weekly tracing operations to identify and hunt down suspects, whilst also using available resources to identify unknown suspects. An information network and profiling of suspects and recruitment of informers has been established to assist the intelligence gathering, and platforms for information sharing has been created in order to open communication channels between the police and the community. Some of these challenges continue to exist, which in a way thwarts the police's ability to effectively respond to these crimes. And the main identified challenges are as follows: the poor cooperation by witnesses based on allegations of threat against their families, and the non-court attendance after a case has been opened, also due to allegations of fear of victimization. Partnerships and cooperation between the community and the police can help to reduce the incidence of extortion and protection fees. Crime is a major destabilizer of basic rights to peace, security, and good governance. We must be able to bring back the confidence of our people to law enforcement agencies in this country. And members of society must never surrender themselves to criminal gangs and other related networks. We continue to encourage the people to report crimes and be prepared to be witnesses in cases. The protection of whistleblowers and witnesses by the state must be improved to encourage every member of society to report crime before it is committed. We continue to say, Musa Ugutula Kusonagala. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, MEC Carter, for taking part in the debate. As we continue, honorable members, we shall now invite Honorable MEC Duma, MEC Economic Development and Tourism.
Thank you so much.
Natal. Thank you, Honorable MEC. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, for affording us this opportunity. Can I crave your indulgence there to just switch off the camera for stronger bandwidth and we proceed?
You are very naughty. You like the trophies, but you want to switch off the camera for what?
Honorable MEC, you have the permission. You can continue.
Thank you for that progressive, Chair. We appreciate the opportunity to address.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable Dlamini, what's the point of order?
Chair, we just want to find out what is the protection fee for the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, since the Honorable Puma insists on bullying the Premier.
That is not a point of order, Honorable Dlamini. You can continue, MEC.
I know I'm attracting a lot of attention, even from the red and the DA these days. Thank you so much.
That's because you are patriarchal. You are a patriarchal figure. You bully women. You bully women. You shouldn't take the platform.
Honorable Dlamini, can we allow the MEC to take part in the debate? Over to you, MEC. Point of order,
Chair. We appreciate the opportunity to address the honorable members of the NCOP.
Point of order. Chairperson, I would like to, because you didn't even grant him a permission to switch off his mic. We want to see him so that he can carry on, so we can know him. I thank you. There's nothing that is stopping not to come to the parliament. Honorable Mutsamai, MEC Duma, when he started, his video was on. Subsequent to that, a permission was sought from the chairperson, and I duly granted the MEC permission to allow him to be audible. Thank you, Honorable Mutsamai. MEC, you can continue.
As KZN, we are always inspired and encouraged by the robust engagement in this house of yours, Chair. We'll continue to rally on the strength of NCOP as critical pillar of our democratic dispensation, synergizing as it does not function in government at national, provincial, and local government. The NCOP is also about participatory democracy and promoting intergovernmental relations. Honorable members, the protection fee syndicates and business extortionists are not different from ordinary criminals and other criminal syndicates, such as those involved in cross-border crimes. They need to be confronted and eliminated from our society. In this regard, we wish to welcome progress made in relation to the fight against extortion and related crimes as announced by His Excellency the President. But we must also just acknowledge the presence of Deputy Minister Matale for the role that has played along with the Minister Cele, and we are so appreciative of the role that has been played. In particular, welcome the arrest of more than 4,000 suspects for damaging critical infrastructure. Others have been arrested for extortion and illegal mining. By and large, the ANC government has demonstrated a high level of seriousness by employing more than 946 personnel who have been deployed for 220 infrastructure task teams. The decentralization of 20 task teams to the provinces, district, and police stations at local levels will ensure that we turn the situation around. We must hasten to point out that as we move forward, we'll undoubtedly see more arrests, Honorable Chair. The broader multifaceted strategy, which involved the Hawks, crime intelligence, visible policing and operations, detectives and forensic services, National Prosecuting Authority, SA, Receive of Revenue, and other entities will have a huge impact. Having said that, we must also acknowledge that more work will still need to be done, especially to flush out protection fee syndicates. I'm sure that's a general feeling of this House. We all agree. However, Honorable Chair, I would want to warn the members not to be too gullible when we discuss such matters and consume even wrong narratives. I differ vehemently on this narration of creating such and characterize something. Like, for instance, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we have what is called the business forum. Those who must be trading and they must be engaged by the ANC as a government, as a progressive state, because the reality is that in most cases, for you to transform the society, you must be willing to go an extra mile. But we must not characterize, because this thing of saying that there is a construction mafia, it's a term, I think it's a term loosely used, and we are not going to achieve a lot of things as long as we don't go on the core of what is currently happening. The Deputy Minister was present with us. We just want to highlight that probably in 2009, when we were building these stadiums, there was a construction companies. The construction companies were given project. Instead of saying that there was a fraud, instead of saying that there was a corruption, we said there was a collusion. Such antennae are not acceptable. It's something that we must all be able to confront. It's the same. We had a debate, a shallow debate coming from Honorable Brother said, his debate is shallow because he sees everything African as corrupt, everything African as weak, which is not correct at some point in time, because the reality in our instances, capitalism as the system is inherent with corruption. And the issue of white-collar crime has been designed to suit cartels. I've already spoken about the big construction industries. I've already spoken about the role that has been played by the Steinhoff of this world. So each time, even when we deal with all these crimes, we must be particular, and we must not just be seen as only targeting those who are vulnerable. We must just deal with criminal activities across the board, so that as the state, so that we are glad that the state has played this role. And in conclusion, we want to thank the role that has been played even by the NCOP when they visit different districts, different provinces in fighting crime. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC Numa, for taking part in the debate. I just want to draw members to Rule 47. Conversing loud, honorable members, you are drowning the speaker. It becomes difficult for members of the House to clearly hear and get the message from the participant. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, we now invite Honorable Badenhorst to also take part in the debate. Over to you, Honorable Badenhorst.
Chair, sorry, with respect, sorry to interrupt. There's a note for you. There's a request from Minister Regan Allen of the Western Cape government to speak now, and I will replace him a little bit later on. We put a note on your desk there.
And you must be consistency, Chair.
There's a program, yeah.
Honorable Mabato has raised this thing.
Honorable Badenhorst, can you repeat what you were saying? Okay. Honorable members, let's allow the swap because it is still same party. So therefore, we will now invite Honorable Reagan to take part in the debate on the platform.
Honorable Chairperson, I trust that I'm audible your side.
You are very audible, Honorable MEC.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy Minister, honorable members of the NCOP. It was just over a year ago when I addressed this esteemed House about the need for effective, deserved and required resourcing of the South African Police Service in the Western Cape. Regrettably, not only does this need exist in our province, but throughout the country. Particularly if you consider a province like the Free State, where there's a vacancy of close to 30%.
Leave Free State alone, leave Free State alone,
with a much larger population and where crime patterns are completely different to any other province in the country, our vacancy rate is approximately 10%. In fact, Honorable Chairperson, the reality is South African Police Service at station level across our country is approximately 20 years behind in having the required boots on the ground. During the 2011-2012 financial year, the ideal staffing requirement at SAP station level across our entire country was at 157,836, but the actual total of officers were only 122,617. If we fast forward, Chairperson, to 2021-2022 financial year, the ideal amount of SAPS officers that we required at station level across our country was 193,476, with an actual amount of only 105,935. Effectively, this means that recruitment in SAPS is lagging behind by approximately 90,000 officers that should be on the ground. Chairperson, the reality is setting the dedicated men and women in blue up for failure as they will continue to find it challenging to combat crime regardless of its nature. Chairperson, there's a direct link between policing resourcing and the areas where extortions are occurring here in the Western Cape. When we consider Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Nyanga, Mitchell's Plain are some of the areas where extortions are quite rife. Considering Harare and Khayelitsha as a police to population ratio of 1 officer for over 897 members of the society. Khayelitsha in Site B is 1 member for every 628. Gugulethu 1 member for every 874. An area like Nyanga, who was our murder capital for a number of years, 1 officer for every 635. And Mitchell's Plain, 1 member for over 600 residents. It is expected that crimes of this nature will continue to thrive as criminals are fully aware that SAPS do not have the required resources to counter them. This is a clear demonstration that the national government has not been prioritizing the combating of serious matters like extortion, nor crime in general here in the Western Cape. Chairperson, the impact of extortions continue to be severe, and allow me to remind this House that the 2nd edition of the Organized Crime Index, which was published by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Crimes, painted a grim picture on the impact of organized crime with links to extortion-related crimes. Chairperson, the crime index indicated that South Africa climbed 12 spots up the criminality index from 19th in 2021. Chairperson, is it vital that such reports act as a wake-up call to national government and, importantly, a call to action? Chairperson, a call to action is long overdue, considering that in the Western Cape between 2018 and 2023, a total of 25 projects have been affected by incidences of extortion, violence, and intimidation. These incidences have resulted in projects being delayed or halted and often resulted in additional costs for boosted security on site. This meant that over 18,490 beneficiaries who should have been living in improved environments and in a dignified manner are unable to do so. A caring national government would not allow something like this to occur, let alone continue. We have also witnessed a number of mass murders directly linked to extortion, as between September and October this year, we saw multiple mass murders for which are either linked to extortion or gang-related matters. Chairperson, on that particular note, it is vital for me to list some of the interventions which we have implemented here in the Western Cape, because we care about the safety of our residents. We have and continue to prioritize safety as one of our core governance pillars. In fact, all departments have a safety component, and we actively seek to work with all relevant and related stakeholders, whether this be business, community members, or society at large. Just last week, I had the privilege to engage Business Against Crime for us to identify further collaborative opportunities to particularly combat extortion and other related crimes. In the Western Cape, we have an integrated extortion task team where spheres of government and the South African Police Service engage each other on matters relating to extortions. We have a toll-free number hotline that any person can call to report matters related to extortions. Chairperson, just over a month ago, the city of Cape Town, which is the best run metro in the entire country, launched their nationwide anti-extortion campaign under the slogan, "Enough is enough, genoeg is genoeg, Kwanela." But also, Chairperson, we are wanting the laws of our country to work for residents. We are wanting the Criminal Procedure Act to actually be utilized. We have sections 158, 153, and 252, which allows for sting operations. But due to a lack of capacity, we are unable to fully exercise the laws that are in place to actually protect residents, to protect businesses. But in addition to this, Chairperson, we have also stepped in to further assist the South African Police Service against extortion, murders, and all other crimes, particularly in the hotspot areas of the Cape Metro. In 2019, the Western Cape government launched its Western Cape Safety Plan with the primary focus of reducing the murder rate by 50% by 2029. Stemming from this safety plan, Chairperson, is our Law Enforcement Advancement Plan, or commonly known as LEAP officers. In partnership with the City of Cape Town, we have deployed over 1,200 LEAP officers in areas where the murder rate is the highest. If I take any member of the NCOP to an area like Delft, for example, you would be able to see firsthand that we have approximately 50% of the allocated amount of SAPS officers in Delft that we have supplemented over 50% in LEAP officer capacity. Chairperson, that is the Western Cape government stepping in, stepping up because we care for residents. But our LEAP officers are currently deployed in 13 of our areas, of which 10 of these areas are in the top murder areas in the Western Cape. And these includes areas like Delft, Gugulethu, Harare, Khayelitsha, Kraaifontein, Mfuleni, Mitchells Plain, Nyanga, Philippi East, and Samora Machel. The other Heimkraai areas where we have deployed is Atlantis, Bishop Lavis, and Nova Park, and recently Lavender Hill, Steenberg, and Grassy Park. Chairperson, it is important to note that the placement of these LEAP officers are done on an informed basis. It's not done on an uninformed or on a willy-nilly basis, but rather it is very strategic, backed up by data and evidence, and where the need is the greatest. This allows us to be proactive and prevent crime from occurring while also being efficiently reactive should any incident already have happened. Chairperson, this data and evidence-led approach, we obtain the information and the relevant data via our provincial safety dashboard. And this dashboard, which is updated every 3 days, provide real-time data to provincial safety stakeholders. We are innovative in our approach here in the Western Cape. When resources are deployed and utilized effectively, it bolsters the crime-fighting efforts. And these LEAP officers working alongside the South African Police Service is clearly showing it. We saw in the fourth quarter crime stats where the Western Cape had a 14.1% reduction in the murder rate. For the first quarter of this particular financial year, a 5.5% reduction rate that ultimately led to 198 fewer people being murdered in our province. For the last quarter, the only province that saw in the contact crime category a reduction. We are making way, but we ultimately need national government to come on board. And that's why when we call for devolution, when we call for policing to be done in a different manner so that we can ultimately address crime in a meaningful way, it's not a political call. It's a call that is resonating here in our province. It is resonating amongst mothers, amongst daughters, amongst our safety stakeholders, because it makes sense. Also, the Constitution.
As you round up, MEC.
As I conclude, Chairperson, as the Western Cape government, we are sure that SAPS will be fully capacitated under a DA-led government here in the Western Cape, resourced and effectively trained to offer the service that the people of this province and country deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, MEC Allen, MEC for Police Oversight and Community Safety in Western Cape. We are continuing. We shall now invite Honorable De Bruin from the Freedom Front Plus to also take the podium. Over to you, Honorable De Bruin.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, with your permission, I'm not able to switch on my camera. I don't have a problem with bandwidth or connectivity. My device doesn't recognize my camera at this stage, so I won't be switching on my camera. Honorable Chairperson, as we all know, protection fees are a form of organized crime that has been plaguing our country for far too long. And businesses of all sizes, especially small businesses, are being forced to pay these fees to criminal gangs in exchange for so-called protection. And at the end of the day, these businesses are left to fend for themselves, especially SMEs. And the fact of the matter is that it is this government that has failed these business owners. Over the past 3 decades, it was this government that failed to ensure that we have adequate law enforcement agencies that are well-equipped, well-trained, and well-supported in their work. And it was this ANC-led government that failed to devote resources towards training and equipping these agencies, and to ensure that the efforts are focused on the prevention and prosecution of this crime. Honorable Chairperson, it is unthinkable that these groups and all gangs are extorting even state-owned entities like ESCOM and departments like the Department of Housing, without our police service being able to track, investigate, and arrest these syndicates. But this is unfortunately the reality in South Africa, Honorable Chair, and we all know whose incompetence is to blame for allowing this to happen. Agbare Voorsitter, besigheidseienaars en die algehele publiek het eenvoudig nie meer vertroue in die Suid-Afrikaanse Polisiediens en ons intelligensiedienste nie. En dis hoekom bitter min van die mense wat met hierdie tipe uitbuiting gekonfronteer word, na vore kom om amptelike klagtes te lê en inligting te verskaf. En as ons gaan kyk na die verval van ons polisiediens onder ANC bewind en die huidige minister van polisie, kan ons hulle ook glad nie blameer daarvoor. Want soos ek gesê het, agbare Voorsitter, as selfs staatsentiteite soos ESCOM en munisipaliteite se dienslewering al die slagoffers is van hierdie syndikaate, sonder dat die polisie suksesvol kan optree, wat se hoop het die klein sakeman dan daar buite? Voorsitter, sonder ordentlik opgeleide polismanne en vroue wat toegerus is en in samewerking met bekwame intelligensiedienste, GPF's en burgerregte organisasies wat die probleem prioritiseer, sal ongelukkig bitter min kanse vir sukses in hierdie geval wees. En daarom, agbare Voorsitter, in hierdie verband het ons nie beloftes, debatte en mooi praatjies van ministers en amptenare wat hul onvermoë probeer regverdig nodig nie. Daar is daadwerklike aksie daar buite nodig. Daar is nodig vir 'n intelligensiediens wat intelligent is, en daar is nodig vir genoegsame polisieering deur bekwame amptenare, en die regering en die departement moet meer moeite doen om meer GPF's op die been te bring en by te staan om sodoende gemeenskappe ook te betrek. Kortom gestel, agbare Voorsitter, om hierdie houvas van uitbuiting van hierdie syndikaate op ons gemeenskappe en besighede stop te sit en te voorkom, het ons regering nodig wat die welstand van sy burgers en die ekonomie prioritiseer. Ons het dus 'n regering nodig waar die ANC nie in bewind is nie. En daardie regering, Voorsitter, sal realiseer na die 2024 verkiesing. En eers dan is ek bevrees sal daar daadwerklike oplossings vir hierdie tipe misdadigheid kan wees. Dankie, Voorsitter.
Thank you, Honorable
Point of order, Chair.
for taking part
Chairperson.
in the debate.
Point of order.
Yes, Honorable Mthamai.
Chairperson, it looks like we are tested as EFF members. I mean, when you keep allowing Smolonyana Party to carry on, well, the EFF, you look like you don't see the EFF, or EFF is not in parliament. It became a problem. We don't want to be tested like that. I'm asking you to allow us to bring a speech so that more than 20 million people, they can listen to us. I think we should.
They are going to listen to us after May 2024. That's the reality. Leave them. They can do as they wish. They are going to kiss that house goodbye.
Nakwana e ke nang le yone ya go tsamaisa ntlo. Honorable Motsamai, Honorable Magwala is in the speaking list, and look, there are matters that are dealt with at the party level, and I believe where there are such matters, Honorable Lamini will be able to take the matter up at the right level if she's delegated to do so, or Honorable Mukause will be able to do that. But rest assured, Honorable Magwala is in the speaking list. He'll be able to articulate the EFF's position. Having said that, honorable members, we shall now invite Honorable Razilani, MEC for Transport and Community Safety from Limpopo. Over to you, MEC. Honorable MEC from Limpopo.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. My apologies, I forgot to unmute the Deputy Minister of Police in the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Mr. Kassel Matale, MECs, my colleagues from other provinces, members of the NCOP, and representatives from provinces, representatives of SALGA, distinguished guests, and all other officials in attendance. A very blessed afternoon to all of you. Honorable Chair, this session takes place barely a week after a Limpopo government program was annulled here in the Limpopo province. In fact, it was a program of the National Department of Transport and the provincial government. It was annulled because some of the traditional leaders in the Fitakomutubatsi municipality felt that they were hard done when government was improving parts of the R37 road, which is between towns of Begersfort and Pulukwan. As we were finalizing the preparations for the official opening of this colossal project, a 25-meter stretch of road, which costed government over 700 million, we learned with shock, Honorable Chair, that some of the traditional leaders in the area were despondent as they alleged that they did not benefit anything from this project, despite the enormous economic spin-offs brought about by the R37 project, which include the appointment of local labor, subcontracting work done by local suppliers, and many other business opportunities. The project could not be officially launched because there were allegations of sidelining of traditional leaders during construction. This is a further from the truth, Honorable Chair, and the fact that the 30% misconception has seeped and found its way into the institution of traditional leaders made this episode a lot uglier. This is a synopsis of how the 30% fee, which was initially aimed to be apportioned to local businesses, has been misconstrued to fit a particular narrative, to create space for the graft and bullying within our communities. Here in the Limpopo province, Honorable Chair, there are isolated, sporadic reported incidents where individuals and community structures have also attempted to put government programs in disarray if they could not find their way and bend government's policies. They have had little or no meaningful impact on how government has been delivering its services to the people. In 2018, just before the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, a central project to build the N1 ring road around the city of Polokwane was also put on ice as organized gangs wanted to put a claim on it, using the 30% local economic development component. These attempts were thwarted as both the provincial government and the South African Police Services were able to put a stop on them. The commotion had little impact on the project. During the month of July, as our department concluded its Mandela Day preparations in the Ward 11 of the Elias Motsoaledi local municipality in Sekhukhune district, we learned that the local councillor in the particular ward has made a demand that all services should be procured within the ward, or the local business people will disrupt the function. This was not feasible from Public Finance Management Act point of view. And after lengthy deliberations, the department demonstrated cause to this particular councillor that the central supplier database, popularly known as the CSD, is not ward-based. The cases of protection fee or the 30% portion of local suppliers have not had any impact on how government discharges its provisions of services to the people of this province. However, Honorable Chair, within the mining communities, there are reported incidents where communities have blocked roads, demanding that the mining companies should use local suppliers to procure some services. The practice is a lot rife in the Eastern Platinum Belt of the Limpopo province, in the areas around Beggarsport where there are numerous mining activities. About a week ago, protesters went on rampage in the Bapalagurwa local municipality, blocking roads and burning trucks transporting minerals and state vehicles as they were making an assortment of demands to the Palagurwa Mining Company in Palagurwa. Normally, these protests are instigated by opportunistic business operators within these communities when they feel that business prospects are becoming scarce. We have seen how the communities of Hamampuru, Malika, Maseven, and many other areas around the R555 road have embarked on public demonstrations, making all sorts of demands against mining companies in the Tubatifitahome municipality. They are blocking public roads as they know that by doing this, they are disrupting the mining activities, and these companies will somehow oblige to their incensed demands. Honorable Chairperson, as I'm about to conclude, it is therefore incumbent upon the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster to join hands with other organs of civil society and ensure that we maintain the rule of law in all sectors of economy. We have to employ our top intelligence arsenal if we are to win this battle. And we also have an obligation to conduct public advocacy programs to teach our communities about government's procurement policies and processes. We must be decisive, as we cannot allow this important sector of the economy to become a fiefdom of the underworld and a heaven of crooks. And we want to put it on record, Honorable Chair, without even delaying this meeting by laboring on the crime statistics or how are we performing as Limpopo and the programs that we're embarking on. But we want to assure this Honorable House that the provincial government, working hand in hand with the Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant Tembi Khadebe, we are hard at work to make sure that we employ all the tools that we have to block this criminal and to make sure that we also fast track issues of service delivery to our people. The ANC-led government will continue to honor its own election manifesto, especially when it comes to fighting crime in this country. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable MEC Atsilani from Limpopo, MEC of Transport and Community Safety. We will now invite the Honorable Magwala.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me take this opportunity to greet you, Chairperson of the session, members of the NCOP, distinguished guests. Chairperson, extortion is a pandemic in the Western Cape and across the country, as it is conducted in a bizarre manner with no regard for any consequences. It is an act aimed at controlling territory and drawing profits through illegal means. And extortion is in a term often heard of when we talk of mafia. More especially, the mafia use the intimidation to force business to pay protection. Minister, Deputy Minister, you are a man on top and not doing anything. And it's wrong for a man to be on top and not do anything. Chairperson, extortion is an easy crime to commit in South Africa, as ours is a contrary pledge to the presence of organized crime. Our people are subjected to violent extortionary practices and protection fee syndicates, as criminals threaten local residents, a practice which is not new, but seems to have spiked across all provinces, but mainly in Cape Town Township. So much so that the city of Cape Town was in some stage forced to suspend essential services and such waste collection in areas such as Gugulethu, Nyanga, and Philippi East. The increase of gang violence in Mininburg also led to a temporary withdrawal of services there until the area was calm again. While saloon owners in Nyanga pay protection fees, sometimes as high as 1,500. All this happens under a watchful eye of a man on top not doing anything, as there is a lack of proper and visible police in our township. Crime in South Africa is spiraling out of control because of an incompetent and self-obsessed minister of police who has factionalized the police force and has allowed criminality to brew in the security sector. We have become a criminal society and crime-enabled state because we allow a man to be on top and not do anything. In fact, the presence of a strong criminal organization in the country is a symptom of institutional weakness. There will be a little possibility for extortion to thrive in a country with a strong state presence. Residents and informal and small businesses owners are at the mercy of gangs who target roadside meat sellers, barber shops, saloons, shebeens, spaza shops. Again, the man on top is not doing anything. Extortion threats disrupt the daily operation of businesses, diverting precious time and resources towards dealing with security measures, investigation, or extortion attempts. While employees' productivity and morale suffer due to the stress which is linked to extortion. Extortion inflicts direct financial losses on SMMEs as they are forced to pay extortionists, depleting their financial resources and reducing profitability. The increased cost associated with protection against extortions or implementing security measures eats away profit margins. Extortion is a cruel way of corruption, Chairperson. It makes use of violence to force a person or to firm to get what they want. It spreads fear because extortionists are capable of hunting others. In Cape Town, it is declared a matter of high priority, which action put in place and monitoring rewards offered for reporting hotlines. However, these actions are inactive and are not reflecting of a priority case. Extortion is a complex and deeply rooted problem that requires a robust response from our justice system. We need to rethink our policy strategy before entering country turns into a dam of criminals. We need to establish specialized courts or designated judges assigned to handle extortion cases. We need strictly whistleblower protection laws, mechanism put in place that will ensure that individuals with information about extortion or other crimes can come forward without fear or favor. We need strengthened law enforcement and police visibility as extortion thrives in an environmental characterized by insecurity and lawlessness. Other than deploy police and sit in a township that is very much peaceful with its transport, that is safeguarding the Go George the whole day in George. You have the audacity to deploy police the whole day, but you can't deploy the police to go and catch the criminalities, but you have the resources to protect the capitalist Go George in Tembaletu. We need to develop a specialized unit, such as extortion unit, that will use different approaches, resources conducted to general law enforcement. Extortion units that will handle cases related to extortion, blackmail, kidnapping for ransom, and other similar crimes, often focusing on organized crime groups or individuals engaged in extortion. Units that will understand the dynamics of extortion, negotiation tactics, and legal aspects of extortion cases. And mostly important, units that will actually work on preventing strategies, educating potential targets about extortion risk, and promoting safe reporting mechanism. We need to allocate modern technology, surveillance resources that are crucial in the fight against extortion. These resources should primarily support extortion units and their prevention efforts with tools that will enhance the investigation process, improve evidence collection, reduce response times, and help law enforcement to stay ahead of evolving threats. When combined, well-trained personnel, modern technology becomes a powerful asset in the fight against extortion and other criminal activities. Finally, Chairperson, strengthening law enforcement should be a fundamental pillar of any strategy to combat extortion effectively. Unfortunately, as the country, we are subjected to an ANC which refuses to take responsibility for its failures and has completely abandoned its duties to create jobs and fight crime. As the economic freedom fighters, we urge all South Africans to register to vote in 2024 national and provincial election and rid themselves of a failed ANC. They must dial *134 star 20024 hash. *134 star 20024 hash. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Magwala, for taking part in the debate. As we continue, honorable members, we shall now invite Honorable Badenhorst to also take part in the debate. Over to you, Honorable Badenhorst.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable members, fellow South Africans, good day. Extortion and the illegal occupation of land is certainly no stranger to the Western Cape government. Illegal occupation of vacant land and housing units under construction remains a key challenge to the Western Cape Provincial Department of Infrastructure's Human Settlement Branch. The department is constantly facing a heightened security environment due to the disruptions and stoppages of projects through the extortion tactics of construction mafia. In order to mitigate the extortion tactics of construction mafia and illegal land occupiers, which inevitably result in a loss of housing opportunities for the poorest of the poor, the department has spent more than 161 million rand on security to mitigate this scourge. As was recently revealed by Minister Tasha Simmers in the Western Cape Legislature during his presentation of his department's 2022-23 end-of-year performance outcomes. To counteract the widespread impact of extortion across the entire province, the department has implemented a comprehensive plan to prevent this. This proactive strategy encompasses not only internal stakeholders, but also external ones, such as project engineering committees and ward councillors. With a reasonable suspicion that political motivations play a vital role in the connection with the construction mafia, close collaboration is sought with law enforcement agencies, with current cases centering on unlawful material supply, site security branches, demolitions, and acts of intimidation. While the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister, Sihle Zikalala, as far back as August this year, announced the establishment of a government-driven call center to allow the sector to report any disruption at construction sites, these are yet more empty promises with little or no tangible results. In stark contrast, just last month, the DA-run City of Cape Town has set up a functional anti-extortion hotline as part of a new plan to tackle crimes related to the construction projects in the city.
My apology.
Will the honourable member take a question, Chairperson?
Thank you, Honourable Dango.
I'm surprised that honourable member is awake to ask a question. While the Public Works and Infrastructure...
Do you have an active export program to export gangsters to other provinces?
That is a question from Honourable Dango.
Like Westbury.
Honourable Dango.
He's very welcome to ask his question after he's woken up. Thank you. While the Public Works, and I'm going to say this again because he missed out on it. While the Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Sihle Zikalala, as far back as August this year, announced the establishment of a government-driven call center to allow the sector to report any disruption at construction sites, these are yet again more empty promises with little or no tangible results. But in stark contrast, just last month, the DA-run City of Cape Town has set up a functional anti-extortion hotline as part of a new plan to tackle crimes related to construction projects in the city. The 24-hour hotline to report extortion is part of a campaign, as previously mentioned, by Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis called Enough is Enough, Genoeg is Genoeg, Kwanele. While ANC government departments are paying lip service to what they perceive as music to voters' ears, the City of Cape Town's mayor has also launched a reward system to encourage residents to help authorities tackle extortion anonymously should they choose to do so. The city is also topping up its normal security budget by an additional 55 million rand to protect city infrastructure construction sites in order to conclude construction and service delivery for all residents. The city's 24-hour hotline and reward system are linked to a safety and security information management system and a safety and security investigations unit, who has been implementing both proactive and reactive steps to combat extortion in the city. Measures put in place includes information gathering and analysis with investigations, shadow investigations, and watching briefs. Additional policing and law enforcement support is given to construction companies and city employees. Current tender processes are reviewed with built-in safeguards and streamlined reporting lines for extortion incidents. The City's Safety and Security Directorate are currently receiving additional capacity to deal with the threat posed by extortion groups and organized crime. Interagency liaison and cooperation with the NPA and police on extortion-related incidents and investigations are taking place, despite the evident lack of enthusiasm from the country's Crime Intelligence Division to assist in tackling these extortionists. The fact that the Mayor of Cape Town is still waiting for an update on the police investigation into a councillor that was axed months ago for his alleged involvement in the construction mafia is proof of this lack of investigation powers. I want to be very clear about this. We are having this debate because we have an inept police ministry, led by a minister that has shown time and time again that he is incapable of improving the safety of South Africa. Let's face it, if a minister surrounded by armed bodyguards isn't safe on our national roads, who is? Another example, key witnesses in an assault case against police are gunned down execution style outside the court where they are about to testify against the same police. These two incidents dominated the headlines in as many days this week. It's only a matter of time before the president deploys what is left of the SANDF to deal with all aspects of policing. But again, one would expect a competent president to fire an incompetent minister. But then again, competency has never been deemed to be a consideration that the ANC do when they deploy people. So why would they want to deploy a competent president in the first place? However, South African voters will certainly contemplate the meaning of the word competent when they vote for a new competent DA government in 2024. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Badenhorst, for also taking part in the debate. We are continuing with the debate, honorable members. We shall now invite Councillor Mokhoje from Salga. Councillor Mokhoje, the platform is yours. Councillor Mokhoje.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. The platform is yours, Councillor.
Thank you, Chairperson of the NCOP, Deputy Minister of Police, Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP, MEC's presence, NCOP Chief Whip, House Chairpersons, honorable members, I greet you all. We gather here with a singular and pressing purpose to wage a concerted battle against the malicious and distraction forces of protection fee syndicates and the extortion they inflict upon our communities and businesses. In this fight, we are combating not only the blatant criminality, but also the profound threat these syndicates pose to our nations. Progress and the delivery of essential infrastructure to communities. It is by no means an exaggeration when I say what the syndicates are perpetuating. It's nothing short of economic sabotage. And as a government, we call ill effort to remain idle while these criminals run amok and destroy the very fiber of our society. Our country finds itself confronted with what is slowly becoming a perennial challenge that strikes at the very core of our society. The rise of construction mafias and their sinister activities have cast a dark shadow over the country standing as a rule-based state. Of major concern is that this act harbors the possibility of jeopardizing our reputation as an investment destination of choice, which largely hingers on stable rule-based system of governance, where law and order is sacrosanct and non-negotiable. These criminal networks, driven by greed and lawlessness, continue to relentlessly exploit our communities, sabotage our economy, and obstruct the delivery of vital infrastructure. As the local government fraternity, we call for a considered and coordinated effort to tackle this syndicate, as it is communities that ultimately face the brunt when projects are delayed or put on hold. This puts additional pressure on local government, the sphere that interfaces directly with communities. Honorable Chair, it is impossible to discuss this issue without acknowledging the broader context of crime in South Africa. Our nation, for all its splendor and promise, grapples with an unacceptably high crime rate that plagues our communities and saps our potential for progress. In the pursuit of justice and security, we are duty bound to confront not only the symptom, but also the disease of which construction mafias are a part. We are now at an inflection point where the construction companies are forced to pay a sizable amount of proving security at construction sites. This leads to an exponential increase in project costs, putting further strain on the fiscus. Ultimately, delays in completing projects are so consequential that they end up doubling or even tripling the project cost. Honorable Chair, the proliferation of construction mafias and associated extortion and imitations has reached chronic levels that, if not addressed, probably threatens to turn the country into a heaven for criminals. The construction sector, which is disproportionately affected by these malicious crimes, it's a major driver of employment and economic growth, mainly due to its higher labor absorption rate. It is therefore in our best interest to protect the sector by all means from these syndicates. Local government is ready to deploy its limited resources to aid the fight and push back against these mafias. The growing number of these incidents is of a major concern and reflects the stark reality we face. Honorable Chair, the battle against these syndicates cannot be fought in isolation. The magnitude of this challenge necessitates a coordinated effort, uniting all stakeholders, public and private. It is our collective responsibility to work hand in hand and together create a safer and more prosperous South Africa. Let us not forget the profound impact of construction mafias on our municipality, the command center of service delivery. The syndicates not only compromise the safety of our municipal officials, but also undermine the critical infrastructure projects that municipalities oversee. Our communities, particularly those in need, bear the brunt of these criminal activities, facing delay in the provision of essential services from housing to water sanitation. We should work together, enhance and intelligence, which will allow us to take proactive steps to confront these syndicates. We shall leave no stone unturned in our quest for justice and for ensuring that the perpetrators face the long arm of the law. The wheels of justice shall turn swiftly, and those who threaten the fabric of our society shall be held accountable. Honorable Chair, today I speak not only as a representative of SALGA, but as a concerned citizen who is deeply troubled by erosion of law and order in our society. Nevertheless, my hope remains unwavering in our national resilience, for we have trampled over more formidable challenges in the past. Our challenges may be significant, but our resolve is strong. Let us emerge from this sitting with a renewed determination to wage a considered battle against the protection fee syndicate, not only for ourselves, for future generations. We will create a South Africa where businesses can thrive without fear, where communities can flourish in safety, and where service delivery expertise. We are summoned by a duty to wage a concerted battle against the scourge, to shield our communities and businesses from the terrain of criminal extortion, and to declare in no uncertain terms that we shall not allow the shadow of crime to envelope our beloved South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Councillor Mokoje from SALGA, for also taking part in the debate. I shall now invite Honorable Bartlett from the African National Congress to also take part in the debate. Over to you, Honorable Bartlett.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, I've asked, can I proceed without my video on because I'm afraid of my network issue?
Yes, the chairperson is giving you a permission to continue. You did show us earlier this afternoon. Thank you. You can continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, we begin our input in this debate by joining my colleagues in condemning the continuing war in the Middle East. In this regard, we agree with the Secretary General of the United Nations when he said the nightmare in Gaza is more than a humanitarian crisis. We call on the State of Israel to cease fire and allow the humanitarian aid to enter Gaza to save the people of Gaza. The people of Gaza have endured too much pain, and enough is enough, Honorable Chair. As the ANC, we have made commitments to our people in the 2019 election manifesto that we will prioritize, amongst other things, to build safer communities for our people, as well as to advance social transformation. We made these commitments, Chair, because of our firm belief that our people should live peacefully, side by side to one another. The state of our communities is a constitutional right as outlined in the Bill of Rights. Chapter 2, Chair of the Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, provides that everyone has the right to freedom and security of the person. We want every South African to enjoy their freedom and security at all times. Honorable Chair, we are participating in this debate to make an argument that these criminals who demand the so-called protection fee and engage in extortionist activities hamper service delivery by government to our people. The work of the business extortionists and those who are demanding protection fee from companies involved in service delivery projects to our people are militating against these constitutional rights, and therefore, Chair, we should collectively work together to ensure that the evil deeds are put to a stop. Reflecting on the provision of services to the people, the latest census by Stats SA shows that there has been an upward trend in households residing in formal dwellings, an increase of almost 24 percentage points from 65.1% in 1996 to 88.5% in census 2022. Honorable Chair, in defining formal dwellings, Stats SA says that formal dwelling includes formal houses with a brick or concrete structure, flats and apartments, cluster houses, townhouses, semi-detached houses, or any formal dwelling situated in a backyard, such as a room or garden cottage where a household or single person resides. We are highlighting these stats to illustrate how government have been able since 1994 to provide services to our people, including housing. What this means is that a continuous disruption of services to the people by extortionists hamper government's ability to serve our people. This progress of having 88.5% of South Africans having formal dwelling would not have been realized if these extortionists disrupted services then. That is why we have to collectively fight these extortionists. One of the professionals involved in the construction industry indicated in an interview that their lives of professionals are in danger. They have lost some of their colleagues who refuse to cooperate with the extortionists. This means families have lost their loved ones, and as a country, we have lost the skills that we so much in the construction industry. Honorable Chair, it's also reported that some construction professionals and companies have resorted to ask assistance from the taxi bosses to protect them from extortionists. This reflects the desperation on the side of the professionals in the construction industry and companies. The reports are construction projects are on standstill on the ground, and this is hampering service delivery by government to the people. The professionals in the construction sector argues that these criminals are known. Therefore, a collective approach of the community is the way to go to stop these extortionists. Honorable Chair, we note and commend the move by the President of the Republic of South Africa to deploy soldiers to the extortion mafias in the construction industry. We believe that the deployment of the SANDF will assist. Honorable Chair, the deployment of the soldiers may be seen as a short-term intervention. What is required is a long-term solution to this problem. The long-term solution may include a strengthening of the SSA to focus on organized crimes, including the extortion by construction mafias. The police should strengthen the crime intelligence environment to curb this extortion, to dig out the mastermind on the syndicates. Honorable Chair, the intelligence community should analyze the root cause of these extortioners and track down the masterminds behind it, lock them in the prison. We must also analyze the value chain with regard to illegal mining, especially targeting the suppliers of illegal mining goods and those who are the buyers. We make a clarion call to our communities to come forth and assist the law enforcement agencies with information regarding these extortioner syndicates. We agree that in most instances, these extortioners are known in the community. And the cooperation of the community with the police will go a long way in rooting out these criminals from our communities. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bartlett, for also taking part in the debate representing the African National Congress. As I invite Honorable Lund to the podium, I shall also be relinquishing the powers vested in me in terms of Rule 12 by the National Chairperson, so that the National Chairperson can take his rightful place. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lund. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Let's try switching it on. Thank you, Honorable House Chair, honorable members. So, crime is crime is crime. Doesn't matter what, if you transgress the law, you commit a crime. Although there's different categories of crime and different penalties associated to it, when you transgress outside the law, it's a criminal offense. Now, I was listening here today, and we had quite a few cadres from Luthuli House, the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, I probably need to start with Honorable Duma. I think, Honorable Duma, you misheard Honorable Browter said. He didn't say Africans are corrupt. He said the African National Congress is corrupt. And that's the truth. It's proven over and over and over in the courts of this country. So it's a criminal organization led by criminals. Honorable Radzilani, you said you are shocked 4 or 5 times in...
Honorable member, if I may just get you to withdraw that. It's unparliamentary to call members of this house and organization criminals.
Honorable Chairperson, I did not mention a single member of this house, but if the shoe fits, you must wear it. But it's surprising that you can apply the rules now, but when Honorable Dangor enters the house after voting starts, you cannot apply the rules. So you're exposing yourself yet again.
Honorable Lund, I'm pleading with you to please comply.
Honorable Chair, you can double check Hansard. I did not call a single member of this house corrupt.
Because if you don't withdraw, if you refuse to withdraw, I'll ask you to leave the house.
Can you please specify what I must withdraw, what I said?
I'm saying, Honorable Lund, and please listen carefully. I'm saying, I have not said a thing now, but in Australia, you are trying a dialogue with me. Please don't do that. I'm saying that it is improper to refer to members of this house as belonging to a criminal organization. If of course you want to have a substantive motion where you want to table to the house a motion that says the ANC or the IFP or any other organization for that matter is a criminal organization, then all of us will come here and have a debate on a member of the House or
Okay,
members
Chair,
of the House.
I take your point, Chair. I take your point.
Now,
that it's-
what I'm saying to you is, please withdraw.
Chair,
because I'm saying in advance, because if you don't withdraw, I'll have to ask you to leave the House.
Chair, I withdraw that you say it's improper. It might not be untrue, but you ruled it's improper, so I withdraw. I withdraw. So, Chairperson,
Honorable member,
I did withdraw, Chairperson.
But unfortunately, you can't get away with that. Because the withdrawal must be unconditional. It must be unconditional. Otherwise, honorable members, what is the sense of us coming here only to throw insults at each other, refer to each other as criminals, and
Chair, on a point of order.
If you have a motion that you want to...
Chairperson, on a point of order.
That motion will have to be looked into, but probably will be debated. So please withdraw.
What must Chair?
You have a choice.
Point of
You have
order.
a very clear, simple choice. It's either you comply, or you forfeit your right to participate in this debate at this point in time. It's your choice.
Chairperson, on a point of order. On this extortion that is happening from the chair. This is Chairperson on a point of order. Improper. Can you please shut up?
Honorable Lawrence must
And
sit
raise
down.
properly.
Honorable Chair, he must sit down when there is a point of order call. He's out of order.
And you also have to sit down, Honorable Dover, and dress properly next time, please. Honorable Chair, with all due respect.
I'm saying, what is your point of...
My point of order there is freedom of speech in this House. To call the ANC as an organization corrupt and criminal is not attacking a person. If the people in this House feels that the shoe fits them, they must feel that. The Zondo Commission did that. There are court cases that give that. You can't make up the rules as you go. And another person in this House called someone in this meeting a white racist. You didn't rule on that. I'm sorry. You can't, this is an extortion of power.
Honorable Labuskar, that's not really a point of order. And we have dealt with the point of order for a long time in the House. And I want to avoid doing that now. So, Honorable Lund, I've asked you to withdraw unconditionally.
Chairperson, I withdraw. Can I go on with my speech?
Yeah, please.
Great. So, Honorable Radzilane, you said shocked 4 or 5 times about the crime that's happening in your province. You said that you will have all the top intelligence arsenal focused on getting rid of the crime. But if I listen to you, I now understand why the #1 person chose to put his couch in your province, because there's no consequences. Honorable Motsamai, you're complaining that you're not the small Yana party. Honorable Magwala can tell you yesterday, you got 43 votes. You had more workers at that by-election than you got votes in that by-election. So yes, you are a small Yana party. And Honorable Magwala, if you're talking about extortion, fear, I know there's a party that has to pay 10% of their salary to the CIC. And if you do not take your buses full of people and feed them and house them, you are fired. That is extortion. So if there's one party that knows about extortion, it's you guys. Now there's the moral question as well. And the moral question often borders on the criminality. There's a moral question on how this house is being chaired, how some rulings are made and others are not made. So I will leave this chair and I say, the ANC is a corrupt party and you're incompetent chair.
Yes, it's a pity that these things happen. But I want to draw the attention of the House to point 7. Point 7. Point 7 reads as follows, for the benefit of those who are remaining in the House. Point 7 reads as follows. It says, no point of order. No point of order. The picture Honorable Abusakne is moving out. No point of order may be raised in response to a response to a ruling given in terms of sub-rule 4.
Then start to make the right rulings. You are a disgrace.
And sub-rule 4 says,
you are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
If the delegates fail to comply with sub-rule 3, which is raising a point of order must be referred to exact rule, the presiding officer may require him or her to do so. And if he or she fails or does not adequately do so, the presiding officer may summarily rule that it does not amount to a point of order or that the matter is out of order. So this abuse of a point of order, honorable members, really creates difficulties for the House. So I'll urge once more that we desist from abusing the point of order to raise our own argument or to contest the point of view that is being raised by the speaker at the time and so on. So one won't go through this this point necessarily, but we'll proceed to Honorable Todovu. Honorable Todovu.
Chair, Honorable Chairperson, Amos Masondo, Deputy Minister of Police, Honorable Castle Makale.
Just before you proceed, I'm told that Honorable Mahai is on the platform. Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just my apology, Honorable Todovu, my apology so much. Chair, I've been raising my hand, but the issue which I've got a problem with, which I suggest that this issue should not be left unattended, is to be referred to a relevant structure. Is for honorable member unprovoked in the House, leaving this House saying that the chairperson of the House is a disgrace. That is Honorable Okam. I believe that such matters should not be left unattended, and appropriate structure should deal with such kind of conduct. Because deliberately, when members leave this House without the chair having reprimanded another member, proceeded, and they act in the manner that they act, is to want to sink the House. So I do not really approve of that and many comments that were made, but specifically that member, his utterances leaves much to be desired. Thank you.
Yes, the point is noted. I guess in the near future, we'll have to come back and in a pointed way, really raise these matters to reinforce the rulings of this House. Honorable Todovu, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Amos Masondo, Deputy Minister of Police, Honorable Castle Matale, Provincial MECs of Public and Community Safety, permanent and special delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm standing before you today, like all other members, to join the debate on a very critical issue that is ravaging our communities and our economy, the rise of extortion and protection fee syndicates. I listened carefully to all the speakers before me, especially from the opposition benches, quarreling, bickering, and even fighting, not only about the origin of these extortionists and syndicates which have ravaged our country, but the speakers of different political parties differ fundamentally on how to deal with the scourge, which has profound negative implications to the economy of our country, especially in our townships. Honorable Bratterson of the DA started on a wrong footing, using the problem of syndicates and mafias as a tool to garner votes for 2024 general elections. Honorable Magwala of the EFF couldn't wait for his turn, and when he was given an opportunity, he not only delivered junk speech, but he embarked on an election tirade, splashing a toll-free number he doesn't even know himself. Honorable Badenhorst of the DA spent all the time using the police minister as his punching bag and a dumping ground of his agony and frustration for the DA-led failures to deal with the problems of syndicating the Western Cape, which is the highest in the country. Honorable Lords who have just spoken here is obsessed with the ANC and Lituli House. He held insults at the ANC and its members. He directed all these vitriolic attacks, and I will not take this opportunity, Honorable Chair, to stoop at these levels of negativity, of insults and pessimism, because definitely it's going to beat me with experience. Honorable Chair, as we quarrel, bicker, and even fight like we did this afternoon, the truth is as follows. Every day, heavily armed extortion gangs paralyze projects worth billions of rands. The murderous construction mafias have brought many companies in our country to their knees. The syndicates have been a terrible nightmare for construction companies who just want to finish their projects. Indeed, as it was repeatedly said this afternoon, they demand 30% cut from companies to forcing businesses to pay a protection fee. In the city of Matlosana, where I come from, these syndicates arrive in the townships of Joburton, Anana, and Kuma. They have manifested themselves in different forms like zamazamas, gangsters, and business forums. These syndicates are involved in the acts of murder, illegal possession of firearms, intimidation, assault, damage to property, pointing guns, kidnapping, trespassing, and extortion. In the township of Kuma specifically, these syndicates use foreign nationals and are involved in the acts of murder, illegal possession of firearms, money laundering, and conspicuous display of debaucheries, expensive vehicles, and fraud. But we are happy, Honorable Chair, that the police have started to root them out one by one, and the police have also intensified their work with the results expected in the few weeks. Honorable Chair, there is no doubt that our township economy, fueled by the resilience and entrepreneurial spirit of our communities, has long been a vital part of our of our nation's economic fabric. However, the threat posed by the extortion and protection fee syndicates disrupts the peace, tranquility, and security necessary for our economy to thrive. Through Operation Chanela, the South African Police Service has been playing a very important role in decreasing the scourge of extortion and protection fee syndicates. This operation is a testament to the government's dedication to creating a safe and secure environment for our communities and businesses. These operations must be intensified in the affected areas. Honorable Chair, the government emphasized its commitment to cracking down on the construction mafia and other gangs involved in the extortion of businesses across the country, and that is welcome. Those who are involved in such activities, whether in the taxi and construction industry or the Zamazamas, must be held accountable for their wrongdoings. We welcome the fact that 20 economic infrastructure task teams have been established throughout the country, with 18 at district and 2 at provincial level, consisting of 947 experienced personnel. These task teams have made significant progress in combating extortion and other crimes, with 4,000 arrests related to damage to essential and critical infrastructure since their establishment between June 2022 and June 2023. We welcome the arrest of 40 suspects for extortion at construction sites, and equally welcome 3,000 illegal miners where they confiscated copper, rail tracks, and other materials. Furthermore, Honorable Chair, the government, we say, must deploy more resources to make the task teams even more effective. 20 million rands, which has been ring-fenced and allocated for their operational needs in 2022-23 financial year, and 17 million in the current financial year is not enough, and we call on the government to increase it, taking into account that the construction mafias have morphed into gangs that went around intimidating businesses. This emphasizing the need for continued support and more resources for the task teams to curb this type of crimes. Honorable Chair, businesses, especially small enterprises, are hit hard by the financial losses caused by extortion, leading to reduced investments, stifling growth, and in some cases, complete closure. This is in turn leads to job losses and reduced economic activity within our communities. I want to put this problem, therefore, into context, Honorable Chair. It is essential to understand that extortion is not a financial problem only. It is a social problem that affects the fabric of our communities. It creates a climate of fear and security. It has far-reaching and profound consequences beyond the immediate financial losses. People may be reluctant to start new businesses or invest in existing ones, knowing that they may become targets of extortion. This can stifle entrepreneurship and innovation, and also prevent our communities from reaching their full potential. Furthermore, Honorable Chair, extortion can also have a negative impact on the reputation of our communities and our country as a whole. It can deter potential investors and tourists and create an image of lawlessness and instability. This can have long-term consequences for our economic growth and development. While our township economy faces several challenges, such as lack of access to capital, inadequate infrastructure and skills gaps, there are no numerous there are also numerous opportunities for growth and development. By leveraging the talent and creativity within our communities, we can foster innovation and create sustainable livelihoods. Supporting township entrepreneurship is critical, is of crucial importance to our economic growth. Initiatives that provide access to capital, training programs, and mentorship opportunities must be encouraged. We must create a supportive ecosystem that not only nurtures the growth of our small businesses, but also enables them to thrive and compete on a larger scale. Honorable Chair, revisiting procurement processes to prioritize and support local entrepreneurship is also one of the ways to support our local companies to ensure that they have access to business opportunities and can contribute to job creation and economic growth within the townships. Our approach to township economic development, therefore, must be comprehensive and holistic, encompassing not only economic aspects, but also social and infrastructure development. Collaboration and partnership is quite important, especially between government, the private sector, and community organizations. They must work together to drive sustainable development. Honorable Chair, as I pointed out, to discourage extortion as a business venture, strong law enforcement and judicial responses are crucial. To the extortionists and syndicates, I say, you think that you are untouchable. You act with impunity, thinking that we are lawlessness. You want to turn our country into a banana republic. As history will show, Honorable Chair, the mafia gangs have been dealt with in many, many parts of the world. In America, especially, and in Italy, there were the Al Capones and the Sicilian gangs, which were dealt with. And I want our government and everybody involved to take that spirit in terms of rooting them out in our communities. Additionally, Honorable Chair, we need to encourage community cooperation and reporting of extortion activities to relevant authorities. In conclusion, Honorable Chair, condemning these disruptions and subsequent extortions linked to these syndicates is not enough. As different political parties, especially in this House and elsewhere, it is important that we speak with one voice in condemning side disruptions and extortions affecting our communities. We must encourage the collective effort from all stakeholders. As I said, the government, especially the private sector, as well as our communities. It is even more important, Honorable Chair, that we act together to root out these illegal practices which are bringing disrepute and dragging away investment in the South African construction and property sector. I wish to reiterate, therefore, that apportioning blame, pointing fingers, and playing politics over such a sensitive and emotive issue will not eradicate it. The time is now, I argue, that we need to practice what we preach. Our hands must be on deck. We must do everything within our power to deal with extortionists, construction mafias, and syndicates. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Dodovo. Thank you very much. We now proceed to our last speaker for the day, Deputy Minister Matale. Honorable Matale.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thanks to members of the NCOP, those who participated in the debate, MECs, and permanent delegates who were part of this deliberation, a debate intended to ensure that this remain an agenda item in the country and in particular government dealing with this. There are issues, Chair, that were said, and some of them very clearly, there is nothing that we can do about it. In particular, the obsession and the hatred that some members of the House have towards the Minister of Police is more personal than any other thing. And I think we can deal with personality issues. Members came here, particularly from the opposition. It's unfortunate that some of those who came to comment here are our colleagues that we work with within the MINMEC, in particular MEC Allen from the Western Cape. They misrepresent facts in terms of things that have happened or is happening in the Western Cape, Chairperson, around the role that SAPS is playing in that space, led by Minister Kele, who led a delegation which I was part of when we met with the Premier of the province and the leadership of the Metro to discuss issues of crime in that part of our country and our response to establish a task team. The task teams that they are talking about here are as a result of that particular process. Of course, I must respect him, Chairperson, because in some of the input that he made, he did acknowledge that they succeeded because police are part of the teams that are dealing with the challenges we are confronted with there. And I must say that it is correct that we are working together there in the Western Cape, led by General Patekile, the provincial commissioner, who work with the law enforcement, which we appreciate the contribution by the Metro in the fight against crime. But an assertion that suggests that SAPS is not coming on board is completely unfounded. There was also a comment by Honorable Badenhorst that tried to make an impression that there is an unwillingness to collaborate, particularly from the side of crime intelligence. It's very much inaccurate. We will not come here, Chair, and present things that are not factual, like, for example, say that the personnel in SAPS, it's enough. It's not enough. We have said that publicly on various platforms, including yesterday at the National Assembly. But in response to that, the President of the Republic, for the first time, made an intervention that we should train over 10,000 new police recruits, a thing which has never happened in the history of this country. In 2019, we trained 5,000, and because of COVID, we stopped on the program. And last year, we were going to train 5,000, but through the intervention of the President and with the support of the Minister of Finance, we were allowed to train an extra 5 to make it 10,000. Our institutional capacity was not able to absorb this, and we were forced to expand, to go to the military to ask for extra space. And this financial year, again, we are going to graduate another 10,000 on the 15th of December, and we are going to recruit another 10,000 to augment and strengthen the personnel in SAPS led by the President. I think we should appreciate good when it is done. It is inaccurate that the President responded because Honorable Brother Seth raised that he must do certain things, and as a result, he responded. It's not correct. The President has been decisive and he has been providing leadership in our response, and we are responding. There are people who are not happy with the outcome that Operation Shanyela has started to yield. and they are taking the program as a program that is not yielding result. Since its implementation, Chairperson, we have arrested thousands of wanted criminals who, as I speak today, they are facing the consequences of their plans. We are responding. We are not going to co-govern with criminals. We are certain and convinced that working together with our people and all spheres of government, victory is certain. Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity for us to discuss this important topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matale. I would like to take this opportunity, honorable delegates, to express an appreciation to the Deputy Minister for being part of the proceedings. But we also extend a similar appreciation to permanent delegates, MECs, all special delegates, and the SALGA representatives for availing themselves. That, honorable delegates, concludes the business of the day. The House is now adjourned. Thank you, Chair.
Recording stopped.